Welcome to the Sun Belt Conference Championship game on ESPN, presented by Xfinity. From Kit Brewer Stadium in Boone, North Carolina, number 21, Appalachian State tries to win its fourth straight conference title, and for the second straight year, they'll face the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana in the Sun Belt title game. This game will not affect the college football playoff, but the Mountaineers are still in the Group of 5 race for the Cotton Bowl, which goes to the highest-ranked league champ from the Group of 5. They need to win. They need the right teams to lose, and even then it might not be enough, but there is a chance. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to the Mountains. Alongside my partner, Ryan Leaf, I'm Clay Mathick. Quint Kesnick is down on the field. It's been a great season for App State. 11 wins, and if things fall just right, they'll be the first team from the Sun Belt Conference to get into a New Year's Six game. Yeah,
I don't necessarily think they need to fall that way either. I think they're the best Group of 5 football team out there. With the resume that they have, 2 Power 5 wins over South Carolina and North Carolina on the road, plus the eye test. If they win today, I think they have a great shot of being in that Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day.
They have an absolutely terrific offense. They have the Offensive Player of the Year again. Last year it was Zach Thomas, their quarterback. This year, Darrington Evans, a terrific running back.
Yeah, a dynamic duo back there. In the last 2 years, they've been as prolific as an offense as you can imagine. Zach Thomas through the air, but also on the ground with his feet. And what Darrington Evans has been able to do, not only rushing the football, but also catching the football out of the backfield this year, has made them much more explosive.
Darrington Evans, a lot of people think he's got an NFL future. Now, is this the game that finally Louisiana snaps the curse? 0-7 all-time against App State. If they do win it, you got to expect that their running game is going to have a big day.
Yeah, they have a 3-headed monster at running back back there. Mitchell, Calais, and Regis, all 3 about to get close to 1,000 yards. They've been really special this football season, the way they've been able to carry them, leading the Sun Belt in total offense. I expect a lot from them today.
They have a really good quarterback, too, in Levi Lewis. Quietly, he's had a great year.
No, he's had a tremendous year. He's very similar to Zach Thomas in terms of stats. And I really believe for them to finally get over the top against an App State football team, it's going to have to be because of his arm to complement that really great rushing attack.
First time 2 double-digit win teams are going head-to-head in Sun Belt Conference history. Louisiana will kick off, and App State will start at the 25-yard line as we go down to the third member of our team, Quint Kesnick.
Yeah, App State's junior quarterback, Zach Thomas from Alabama, had a dozen offers, FBS, coming out of high school until he broke his tibia and his fibula his senior year. Those offers were rescinded, and he's ended up here as a Mountaineer, and all he's done is win. 21-3 as a starter of the last 2 years, 24 throwing touchdowns, but what separates him and what can make the difference, his mobility. He's an excellent scrambler on third down. He's rushed for 7 touchdowns this year, and he's going to be used as a running threat in this championship game.
Thanks, Quint. You see the numbers. 21 wins against 3 losses. He is a winner. First carry goes to Darrington Evans, the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. And he runs into a very stiff defensive front. Jacques Boudreau, the middle linebacker, number 59. They call him the Inspector. He's going to make a lot of tackles today.
Inspector Boudreau.
Defensive coordinator Ron Roberts in his second year. They've got to affect Zach Thomas, make him uncomfortable today. And they'll try to do it here. Pressure got there late, and that was nearly intercepted in the secondary. Eric Guerra, the cornerback, his hands on it. It was intended for Jalen Virgil.
Yeah,
third down.
Yeah, tremendous job by Eric Guerra to follow the quarterback's eyes along the way. And then you watch Virgil just kind of stumble a little bit, and Guerra could have made a big play there to interrupt this first drive. Defensively, they're going to have to be that way all game long against this explosive offense of Appalachian State.
App State without a key member of their offense, Corey Sutton, their terrific wide receiver, out for the rest of the year with an ACL. He was their third down target. Thomas will go to another good receiver, though, Malik Williams. Not only will they pick up the first down, but they'll get it to the 47-yard line. That's a gain of 19 for Williams.
Malik Williams has been their slot receiver all season long, and the timing between him and Zach Thomas here, watch this. 1, 2, 3, lets it go right on his outbreak. He gets it to him in time where he's able to tightrope that out of bounds line and pick up a big first down.
They'll send Jalen Virgil in motion, and on the jet sweep, that play is blown up by Tariq Miller, the nickelback out of Pensacola, Florida. That's a loss of 5.
You talk about setting the edge, right? And Tariq Miller is able to get right up where he's supposed to be in that gap, and they try to get the win with the end around and nowhere to go. Tariq Miller with a big stop for a tackle for loss.
Miller really has a nose for the football. So many of the defensive players for Louisiana do. That's through the hands of Hennigan, incomplete. Pass a little high, but Thomas Hennigan is now the focal point of the passing game. Usually brings those in. 3rd down and 15 coming up. You can see the offensive numbers. 38.9 points per game. The rushing yards also fantastic. And they don't turn it over.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me, right? 3rd fewest in turnovers this year. Only 8 times for how much they throw the football. I think that's exceptional.
Good 3rd down numbers. They'll try to get it on the screen. Dump down to Evans. He's got some real estate. He finds the sideline. Goodbye. Touchdown. Darrington Evans goes 58 yards after the catch, and App State draws first blood.
Just a wonderful setup. You expect these types of things on 3rd down, but they just exposed them completely. They ran man coverage, and anytime you do that and decide to bring some pressure, you open yourself up to this exactly. And he just does a tremendous job of catching the ball and then finding the alleys. With that breakaway speed, they go up early here in Boone.
Chandler Staten comes on to tack on the extra point. And it's 7-0. Not even 2 minutes into this game.
A little different from last time they played. Here, just a perfect example of running the screen on 3rd down and long. And he just leaves everybody in the dust. Like we talked about in the open, he's become such a much better receiver this year out of the backfield.
So much confidence for these Appalachian State Mountaineers, the Sun Belt champs the last 3 years. They won the East by 2 games over Georgia Southern. And they make a statement here early. The #1 scoring offense in the Sun Belt, and you can see why.
They're just so explosive, and they have been that way all year long. They weren't when they played Louisiana last time. It was a defensive battle that they won 17-7, but here, Eli Drinkwitz immediately goes to what he's good at, and he got his best player the football early.
Such a good play caller. Drinkwitz really gives Zach Thomas a lot of freedom in this offense, and they have clicked in Drinkwitz's first year here in Boone. Now we'll see how Louisiana responds as they've been punched in the mouth. Jamarcus Bradley on the return. He is stacked up and thrust back. Things are lively here at The Rock.
And there is an advantage to being able to host your conference championship. And here in the mountain area of Boone, North Carolina, wow. It's an exciting environment. I was really looking forward to coming here and seeing this environment.
Well, Billy Napier is a pretty talented play caller, too. The Sun Belt Conference Coach of the Year. He has taken Louisiana to its first 10-win season, 2nd straight West Division title. Here in the championship game for the 2nd straight year. A lot of people mentioning his name with some of these job openings around the country.
Yeah, he's been pretty special. A guy that really buys into the analytics of it all in his play calling.
Raymond Calais, one of the terrific trio in the backfield, is slammed down for a loss of 1 by Desmond Franklin, the free safety. This is the #1 rush defense in the Sun Belt.
both of these safeties, Franklin and Thomas, are going to have to be up in the run game and be that 8th guy in the box. And sure enough, there he is right at the point of attack, making a big tackle. They're going to be there all day long. Those two safeties, like I said.
Calais motions out. Empty backfield for Levi Lewis. The lefty throws over the middle, has a wide open man. Across the 40, across midfield, and into Appalachian State territory. Peter LeBlanc, the true freshman out of Catholic High in New Iberia, Louisiana, having a great rookie season. That's a gain of 43.
Yeah, he's really come along as a true freshman here. Just a simple post, gets over the middle linebacker, and the ball is perfectly thrown. He takes the contact from Josh Thomas and still continues to get yards after the contact and into Appalachian State territory.
He has a catch in every game this year. They didn't know what to expect from him back in camp, but he has been outstanding. Ball comes loose. Appalachian State says they have it. And we've got our first turnover of the game. So an explosive play for the Cajuns, but then App State answers back with a takeaway by the nose tackle, E.J. Scott. It is hard to win at the Rock, and Louisiana knows that. And App State out to a terrific start, leading 7-0. They've got it when we come back. Now the Mountaineers couldn't have had a better start in their Sun Belt Conference Championship game, leading 7-0 over the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana, and they've got it in plus territory after the turnover. A +10 turnover margin that leads the Sun Belt, 10th best in the nation. Thomas on first down. He's on target to Hennigan. Caught at the 40. Let's go back to the fumble for Louisiana.
Here, E.J. Scott's right there in the middle of the football field. He just comes unblocked right from the start. And at the mesh point in this zone read between Calais and Lewis, gets blown up. Then when Lewis tries to bring the ball back, Davis Gaither just gets in there and disrupts it more, ultimately turning into the fumble and giving the Mountaineers the football back.
E.J. Scott, a former walk-on, now an all-conference performer. Zach Thomas, Eli Drinkowitz is going to run in more today. He slides down to the 30-yard line for a first down. And it's going to be by design. Thomas, a great ad-libber on his feet. But Eli told us yesterday, we will run him more by design.
Right, with the loss of Corey Sutton, which means less explosive plays, there were going to be more first and second down design runs for Zach Thomas at the quarterback position, not just scrambling when it fits him.
A couple of touchdown runs in last year's title game for Thomas. There he goes again. Thomas, he's got the edge. And finally caught from behind at the 8-yard line. Eric Guerra with some closing speed to prevent the touchdown.
Wonderful zone read here. He reads the end perfectly, pulls the football, and then it's just a foot race between him and Guerra. Guerra is able to get him down just inside the 10-yard line.
Now Marcus Williams, the backup to Darrington Evans, a running back. And that's going to be no gain after the 25-yard pickup by Thomas. I mean, these Raging Cajuns know what's coming with Thomas. He had 2 touchdowns in this game last year. He had 2 on the ground back in October when they met. But they've had a hard time stopping him.
They have. Ron Roberts talked to us about it. We have to do a better job of keeping him in the pocket, not only when he's scrambling, but when they make calls offensively where they give him the football as the primary runner. And they just haven't been able to stop him. Too many weapons on the Mountaineers side.
Back to Evans, finds a hole. Easy walk-in touchdown. Wow. 17th rushing touchdown of the year for Evans. And Louisiana doesn't know what's hit him.
They better take a good hard look and figure something out, or this thing could get out of hand in a hurry. Darrington Evans showcasing why he was the Sun Belt Player of the Year on the first 2 possessions.
Four and a half minutes into this game. Chandler staying with the extra point, and it's 14-0. App State on fire.
The Sun Belt Football Championship game is presented on ESPN by Xfinity. Get the ultimate in-home Wi-Fi experience with Xfinity X5. And in part by Ford, where the Built for the Holidays event is going on now.
In Boone, North Carolina, 2 quick touchdowns by App State. They're up 14-0 in the Sun Belt title game. And it's damage control mode on Louisiana sideline. Defensive coordinator Ron Roberts going after his D. Do your expletive job. Do your expletive job. That's all it comes down to right now. This team looks like Utah last night, Ryan, emotionally flat. They've been punched in the face. Can they punch back?
Definitely. Great comparison, right? Oregon gets that stop on 4th down last night on their first drive, and they were never the same the rest of the way through.
This is returnable, but they said fair catch. Jamarcus Bradley waved for the fair catch and didn't even know he did it.
Louisiana at the 25-yard line.
Jamarcus Bradley hasn't had a good start returning the football here yet. Of course, he could be a guy for Louisiana, Ryan, who could change this thing in a hurry. He is a big play receiver for the Cajuns.
Yeah, Ted Roof really talked about how the 2 guys he's going to focus on in this football game is stopping Levi Lewis and Jamarcus Bradley. 1 and 2, that 3-headed monster at running back, they felt comfortable with making some stops like they did in the first game. But Levi Lewis, as you saw on the last drive, the big pass before the turnover, that's what they're going to have to continue to do.
The dual threat junior from Baton Rouge at quarterback, hands off to Elijah Mitchell. And he's going to get 6 yards on 1st down, so good carry from Mitchell. Jordan Fair with the tackle. Louisiana offensively 1/10 of a percentage point behind App State, number 2 in the Sun Belt, 12th in the country in scoring offense. And that rushing offense is 6th best in the nation. Here's Mitchell again. This time not much. It's going to be another 3rd down.
When I saw this matchup on paper, you look at the total yards per game offensively for Louisiana Lafayette. Number 1 in the South on the Sun Belt, 500 yards a game they're gaining. Appalachian State only giving up 321 on their side. They're number 1 on defense. This is where the rubber meets the road, Clay.
App State ranking 3rd nationally and forcing 3-and-outs. Lewis, Cox fires incomplete. Bam Jackson couldn't haul it in. As Lewis tried to tuck it in there to him, Nicholas Ross, number 26, in on the coverage. Ross, another true freshman for App State, having a great year. Talked about those 3-and-outs, Ryan, and that is just impressive. Getting off the field.
Pretty good company to keep there, huh?
No doubt.
Probably the 2 teams ahead of them right there are going to be playing for the national championship. You've got Appalachian State nipping on their heels.
Reese Burns, an excellent punter for Louisiana. Thomas Hennigan calls for the fair catch. Let's take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by AT&T. 3 teams you could argue are locks for the college football playoff: Ohio State, LSU, Clemson. Regardless of what happens today, do you agree with that?
I'm a little iffy on Clemson. I feel like the committee has told us that if you mess up one time with your strength of schedule, your conference, that you could be out. I don't think that's going to happen. So ultimately, whoever wins the game between Oklahoma and Baylor today, if LSU is able to get it done in the SEC championship tonight, the winner is in.
Hennigan, after the catch, tries to spin away. He'll be dropped at the 39, but another 1st down for this Appalachian State offense. Zach Thomas, so accurate, a 64% completion rate, and he seems very dialed in here in the first quarter.
I've never seen him play yet where he doesn't look just absolutely comfortable in the pocket. No matter if there are people at his feet or around him, he understands the game plan, the scheme, and he gets the ball out of his hand in a hurry.
Here's Williams showing some good patience, picking his way ahead. And he'll get 8 yards on that 1st down carry. The dependable veteran running back. Just taking his time behind that big O line.
Yeah, a little wearing number 26 in the black and gold, looking a little like Le'Veon Bell in his day in Pittsburgh, letting his offensive line kind of dictate where the hole opens, and then he beats feet through it.
So line is so impressive. We've had the same starting five all year. That's a rarity these days in football. And they break a hole for Marcus Williams. And he's down inside the 35-yard line to the 33. Just another day at the office for the big guys up front. Johnson, Newsel, Hannon, Hunter, and Hodges. And not a 300-pounder in that five. We talked to Eli Drinkwitz about that. He said, yeah, we prefer speed to size here at App State.
Well, they push people off with that speed. It is rare that you have all five guys starting all year long, and that's been really important for this football team and a big reason why Darrington Evans has been so successful.
There's Chris Moncrief, Jack linebacker, making a tackle on Evans.
Clay, moments before the game, I spoke to head coach and play caller Eli Drinkwitz. I asked him where he thought the openings in the run game would be. He said the inside zone, between the guards. And I asked him why. He said, well, Louisiana's defensive line sets off the ball almost a yard, so they think they can win the line of scrimmage.
Now they're having a hard time winning it right now. Zach Thomas taken off again. That's a gain of 7 to set up a manageable third down situation, Ryan.
They need to stop here. They need him to hold him to a field goal attempt, because after giving the ball back immediately on a 3-and-out, a touchdown here would do irreparable damage, I think, to this Raging Cajun team, especially their psyche.
Thomas, I don't know, it's going to be close. Percy Butler, the strong safety, stepped up, met him, forced him down, and it's going to depend on the spot whether App State picked it up. Did not. Fourth down, and Eli Drinkwitz is likely going to go for it. He doesn't have a ton of confidence in his field goal kicking unit right now, and they've been so successful this season on fourth down.
Right, 82% this season on fourth down, which is really, really good. First in the conference, second in the country.
And they're going to call timeout.
Appalachian State. It's their first charge timeout of the half.
Eli Drinkwitz, 36-year-old head coach, calls a timeout. His team up a couple of touchdowns and looking for more.
Okay, I have to say something. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day.
Fourth down situation for App State, and they're going to go for it, it looks like. Let's go down to Quint real quick.
Well, their place kicker Chandler Staten has missed 3 of his 4 kicks in this direction this year into the construction zone. Eli Drinkwitz has little faith in his kicker.
But he's got faith in the running game, and they move the chains with Darrington Evans. Right behind the center, Noah Hannon, able to find 2 yards and keep this drive alive.
Yeah, just enough. Just a straight zone right between the tackles like he talked about. Watch Zach Thomas here at the end. Just kind of give him a little shove. Little bush push to get that first down and set him up heading into the red zone.
Most improved scoring defense in the FBS this year belongs to Louisiana. They're allowing under 18 points per game, first in the Sun Belt, but they could give up that many here in the first quarter. No gain on that play. And Quinn talked about it. Part of the kicking issue is the construction going on behind that end zone.
Yeah, new football facility could be completed for the start of football next year in 2020. But I guess visually for a kicker, it's like a batter's eye. It's uncomfortable to look at. And Staten, for whatever reason, has struggled in that direction.
He hasn't made a field goal since the win at South Carolina. That's almost a month ago. Double play fake. Thomas winds, fires to the end zone, and he overthrows his target. That was intended for Henry Pearson, the tight end. So it'll be third down and 10.
He actually had Thomas Hennigan wide open in the back of the end zone, and just made the wrong choice and went for Pearson on the wheel route. Great play action on the reverse. Just not able to get it in there. I tell you what, Clay, I mean, it's got to be so difficult if you are Ron Roberts preparing for this offense with the dynamic playmaking at running back. And then if you buy all in and go forward and try to play great defense and put an 8th guy in the box, he throws it over the top for touchdowns.
Thomas already over 100 yards passing and a touchdown. And he hits Jalen Virgil there at the 13-yard line. That's going to be close to another first down for App State. Virgil has really emerged lately. Half of his catches this season have come in the last few games. He has stepped up in Corey Sutton's absence.
Well, what's been so impressive is that because he's only been with Zach Thomas this long, their timing is immaculate, right? I mean, Thomas takes his 3 steps and Virgil's planting that foot and the ball's thrown before he even makes his break. Easy pitch and catch, but again, just a little short. Another 4th down opportunity.
Already converted once. Thomas will keep it, and they'll convert again. Man, that is so hard to stop. Jacques Boudreau made the tackle, but not before a gain of 4 yards for Zach Thomas. 3rd team all Sun Belt. Such an impressive leader for this team.
And this is one of those drives that we saw that night when we were down in Louisiana, Lafayette, right? Where they went the length of the football field and just kind of pounded them and pounded them. Soul-sucking is what I called it, and that's exactly what's starting to happen here.
Couple of 4th down conversions on the drive. Again, Evans, this time hit at the 5-yard line. We draw another stop. Darrington Evans, 104 yards rushing per game. 21 total touchdowns now after the one earlier in the quarter. He was the MVP of this game last year. He had 111 yards rushing and went over 100 yards in kickoff returns.
He does it all. I mean, he really does. And then you add the component we talked about and how he catches the football out of the backfield this year. Is just making himself more likable to the next level. And those scouts who are here watching him play today.
Virgil in motion. They'll give it to Evans. Maybe cut down at the 5. No gain. Zion Hill, one of their studs inside defensively for Louisiana, missed the last couple of games with a shoulder injury. They're happy to have him back. He's able to make the tackle. Here comes another 3rd down and goal situation. 3rd down last week. App State, so impressive. They converted their first 10 chances last week at Troy on 3rd down.
Well, that's just a confidence in what you're doing offensively. When you're watching film all week and Zach Thomas is talking with Eli Drinkwitz, just a confidence on 3rd down was very evident.
Stays clean in the pocket, now steps up. He'll dump it off to Evans, and he'll tiptoe into the end zone. 2-touchdown day for the offensive player of the year in the Sun Belt, Darrington Evans, and it's all App State here late in the first quarter.
Just a great example of Zach Thomas going through his progression, right? And knowing he has a check down out to his left, he gets to it, gives him the ball in space, allows him just to turn upfield and sneak into the corner of the end zone for another touchdown. 2 receiving today by the young man of Oak Hill.
Now we get a flag, and that's going to go against App State.
Prior to the snap, false start, kicking team, number 18. 5-yard penalty, repeat the try.
This red zone offense, too, it's just been so good all year for Eli Drinkwitz. Coming into this game, they had scored touchdowns on 44 of their 55 drives inside the 20.
Mechanics. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. They're mechanical when they get in there. It's just like a machine as it runs. And Eli Drinkwitz is somebody that just tools with it all week long until it's ready and prime and ready to go on the weekend.
That's why people are talking about him for other jobs, even though he's only in his first year as a college head coach. 3-touchdown lead in the first quarter, and App State making a case for the Cotton Bowl all over Louisiana here in the Sun Belt title game. 2 receiving, 1 rushing touchdown for Darrington Evans. It's 21-0 App State. We're going to have the 15th annual ACC championship game tonight. Number 3 Clemson, number 23 Virginia from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. That's a couple of hours south of here. Tigers have won the last 4 ACC titles. Big favorites in this one. A win secures another playoff berth. It would be their 5th straight. 7:30 Eastern tonight on ABC. Chris Smith, redshirt freshman running back, gets it across the 25 to the 27. Let's go to Matt Berry in the studio. All right, Matt. A lot of eyes on that one, Ryan.
Yeah, and I think whoever wins that football game is going to be the recipient of that 4th spot, because I do think LSU holds strong tonight in that SEC championship.
Looking for a spark. Louisiana's going up top. Lewis taking a shot to Bradley, and Bradley didn't even see it. Lands about 5 yards beyond him. So the Ragin' Cajuns, we've talked about their rushing attack, one of the best in the country, but you can see already some desperation here from Louisiana.
Well, I said in the open, I really felt like his arm was going to have to be the reason, and right there was an example. Bradley was open. If he would have thrown him across the field instead of trying to lead him up the field, you would have had a huge play. Everything's going to ride on that left arm of Levi Lewis the rest of this football game.
Throws again to the outside. Bam Jackson makes the catch, and he's out at midfield. Escorted out by Josh Thomas, the strong safety. There's a 21-yard pickup. And Lewis has a strong arm.
We ran this play in college ourselves. We boot away and watch him go to the post, plant his foot, and then get outside. And a perfectly thrown football to Bam Jackson for a 1st down.
Jackson, a senior out of Reserve, Louisiana. Lewis over 2,400 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, just 3 picks. Also has 3 rushing touchdowns. If he can get going, change things here for Louisiana. He's being chased. Desperation gets it away. Incomplete. Trey Regis was out there, but it's going to be
you can see
second down.
Yeah, you can see how difficult he is to sack. He's extremely mobile. It's amazing, though. The coach has said, yeah, he's 5'10". On film, he looks taller than he does in person, quite frankly. And Louisiana does great things with him, Ryan, in terms of moving him, whether it's bootlegs, nakeds, giving him passing visions and lanes so that at 5'10", he can see his receivers.
He's got a lot of experience, too. He's started a lot of games for this team. As he goes to Regis again. Regis finds a seam, and that's a 1st down for the Ragin' Cajuns. Gain of 13 on that play.
You can't completely abandon the running game being down 21-0 because that's what their strength is. So you have to sprinkle it in every now and again, in a big breakaway play there for them to get a 1st down.
There's Lewis again. Open receiver. LeBlanc. He'll go in for the touchdown. A 37-yard strike. Levi Lewis to Peter LeBlanc. And Louisiana showing us a spark here late in the 1st.
Yeah, just straight cover 4 guys across the top. He looks away, holds that safety just enough, and then puts it perfectly to the freshman for a walk-in 6. Great play call. You put the pressure on that safety to cover kind of 2 guys, and Desmond Franklin can't make the tackle. Lewis with the dart.
Boy, LeBlanc has been good here in recent weeks. And a red zone touchdown last week. And the win over ULM. And Stevie Artigue, the senior out of Lafayette, bangs home the extra point. And this is more like the Louisiana offense we've come to know.
Well, when we saw the game in October, right, on that Wednesday night, it was a 17-7 football game. And what happens is when you get that week off and you take a look at the film, you get better at what you need to get better at, or you stand still. And they threw the ball, and they wanted to throw the ball more, and that's what we've seen today already.
Let's take a look at our Wendy's Weekend Watch. So many great games going on today. It's Championship Saturday. The ones you're going to see on ABC and ESPN. A big one in the American. Cincinnati trying to spoil Memphis's Cotton Bowl hopes. Do you agree that if Memphis wins, it's all over?
The way the committee has put Memphis in the spot that they're in, if they win and hold chalk, they'll be the recipient, I do believe.
Boise State, they are still in the conversation for the New Year's Six. And then, of course, the big one tonight on ABC, a couple of hours south of here. Virginia and Clemson. Do you give Virginia any shot?
1%?
Really?
Yeah, not much. Clemson's the best football team in the country. I've been saying that all year long, pounding that drum. They could do something so unprecedented, Clay. They could be a 30-0 football team over the last 2 years with 2 national championships.
And Trevor Lawrence is playing his best football right now at the right time. The last 5 or 6 games, he has been dominant.
Since that Louisville game where he threw his 8th interception, he has not thrown an interception since. He has the same amount of touchdowns as he did at the end of the year already this year, going into the conference championship. They're better at the wide receiver position. They're better at the running back position. And surprisingly, they're more dominant on defense.
That'll be fun tonight. Dietrich Harrington in the football game for the first time at running back for App State. He's going to get his first touch. And he'll get a couple brought down by Boudreaux. So App State has done everything they have wanted to here in this first quarter offensively. And we'll see what happens in the second quarter. But Louisiana with a sign of life late in the opening 15 minutes.
What a great answer. You had to have that answer.
The Raging Cajuns trying to beat App State for the first time in program history. The Sun Belt title game, 15 minutes in. 2-touchdown lead for the Mountaineers. Back in Boone, the Sun Belt Championship presented by Xfinity is part of Dr. Pepper Championship Week here on ESPN. Alongside Ryan Leaf, I'm Clay Matvick. Quinn Kesnick down on the field. 21-7 as we start the second quarter. App State, the defending champs, moving the ball with ease. Dietrich Harrington taking a turn across the 35-yard line.
And it really hasn't mattered who's been in the backfield either. Harrington, Evans, Marcus Williams, all of them have successfully carried the football. This offensive line is just a road crew paving paths for these running backs to run the football.
Naked boot rolling out. Strong arm. Thomas. That's a first down to Hennigan. And spotted at the 49. A 14-yard pickup. This place has great energy. They call it the Rock. Kid Brewer Stadium. And this team always hard to beat here. 5-1 at home this year. Their only loss this season to Georgia Southern on Halloween. But it wasn't a great night for this offense. It was 19 degrees, 40-mile-per-hour winds. Not a great game to throw the ball around. And, of course, Georgia Southern, a triple option team, played into their hand. Harrington again. Boy, he's making the most of his time. He's inside the 30.
Possessions are going to be the key here. Just watching how they've flown. Watch him hand the ball up here. Just a big old hole as he guides himself through it and then takes off. Gets another first down. It's going to be about possessions. And the fact that Louisiana's already punted and turned it over, you're already behind the 8 ball. I wouldn't be surprised if you watch Billy Napier start having to onside kick to get possessions back early in this football game.
Marcus Williams finds daylight. Goodbye. Touchdown. 29 yards for Williams. He scored a touchdown in this game last year. He's got one here today. And App State has scored on all 4 of its possessions.
You know, Quinn talked about it a little earlier about where they were going to affect this football team, and it was between the tackles. Look at this. Exactly. A little pulling guard, and Marcus Williams is just out the gate running after the point of contact, and that first level is over. I mean, it has been an embarrassment for this Lafayette team so far.
Couple of rushing touchdowns, couple of receiving touchdowns. They're doing everything they want.
Yeah, they're doing everything they want. Here's the perfect example between the tackles. Marcus Williams off to the races. So are the Mountaineers.
Appalachian State, number 21 in the college football rankings. First team from the Sun Belt to ever be ranked in the college football rankings, and they still have hope. Maybe a Cotton Bowl berth. Things are going well so far as Chris Smith is stopped short of the 25 for Louisiana. Let's go back to the studio, get an update from Matt. I'll tell you what, that MAC is a great league. You know, the new blood in that championship this year, too.
I haven't had a chance to really follow it too much, but every year, right, there's always a couple teams that flash, and you get a great championship matchup on championship weekend.
Louisiana just 4 first downs so far in this game. They average 25 per contest. Lewis on target to Bradley. That'll be a pickup of 9 before he's brought down. Their number 1 receiver hasn't really been able to get lathered up yet. He's considered one of the top receivers in the group of 5.
Yeah, definitely. As long as they can continue to protect Levi Lewis, like I talked about, he's able to throw the ball with anybody. The point I was making earlier about the possessions, I just don't know if they're going to have enough of possessions to get back in this football game.
Calais wrapped up by Akeem Davis-Gaither. The first time we've been able to call his name so far. He is the Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and some people believe he's going to be in the NFL shortly.
You know, he reminds me a lot of Rodney Harrison, my old teammate in San Diego, right? Rodney, when he got to San Diego, played a ton of special teams. Akeem gets to the next level, plays a lot of special teams. Before you know it, he bulks up a little bit more, and he becomes a commodity for that football team. And before you know it, he's playing safety or a nickel out there in the NFL.
Inside handoff to Calais, and he sprints across midfield. 19 yards. Close to the 45-yard line of App State before he's brought down by the free safety Desmond Franklin. They're going to actually spot it back at the 47. And Calais, he's got that breakaway speed. The senior has touchdown runs of 80 and 92 yards this year. He can be a game breaker.
Watch that 2-and-2 matchup up top here with LeBlanc.
Play fake. Lewis stays clean in the pocket. Over the middle. What a catch by Jackson. Bam Jackson, the senior from Reserve, Louisiana, with a great snatch inside the 30-yard line.
Great call, Clay. You're exactly right. Levi Lewis just moves a little to his left, then comes back to his third read and just puts it right on the money. Watch this catch. It's Jolly. He's just a little late coming over the top with that hand. The thing about this catch, if you watch, he uses his hands, right? He doesn't allow it to come into his body at all, but rather goes out and snatches it right out of the air. They're going to continue to need plays like that for them to stay in this football game.
Jolly a little shaken up on that play. The All-American has 5 interceptions on the year for Appalachian State, including a couple of pick sixes. First down, Louisiana. Calais motions out. 4 receivers for Lewis. Pumps, throws, man open. Ralston just off his fingertips. The grad transfer from Arizona State has been really good in that H-back position. Can't haul that one in.
Can't miss those ones here, Clay. You can't. You run a play specific for this, a fake bubble screen out there to the left side. Ralston gets over the top, is wide open. Lewis can't miss him on that play.
Ralston scored Louisiana's only touchdown back in October when these two teams met in Lafayette. A receiving touchdown. Mitchell back in behind Lewis. He'll get the rock. Looking for room on the left side. Jordan Fair just engulfs him. The captain of the defense, one of the best tacklers in this league, Jordan Fair, the senior out of Charlotte.
Yeah, the linebacking core for the Mountaineers has been so good. Watch, he just simply scrapes along the outside, meets the back in the hole. Him and Mitchell make an explosion right there. He just makes a great stop. Jordan Fair's been solid all season long. Big reason why this defense is #1 in the country, or #1 in the conference, sorry.
Cajuns haven't converted a third down yet. They will here. Mitchell with a nice run up the middle. The 1,000-yard rusher picks up 10. First down.
He's really been the guy that's carried the balls in between the tackles. We're going to go fast here after that first down.
With the fake to Mitchell, Lewis keeps it. He's a good runner too. And he gets it to the 5-yard line. Pushed out by Franklin. Levi Lewis. He's got a few rushing touchdowns. He's considered a dual threat. He picks up a dozen there.
And here's the dual threat, right? What they've been doing all game long, handing the football off. Instead, he keeps it, gets to the outside, and all his receivers kind of set up a roadblock for him, paving a way to get inside the 5.
He played in every game last year behind Andre Nunez, who was the quarterback that led Louisiana to this championship game a season ago. Regas comes in the Wildcat formation. He'll take the direct snap. Plunges into the line. And he's going to be stopped at the 2 on first down and goal.
You know, sometimes when you get inside the 5 like this, and you know that, I mean, you've already fooled the team, right? You come out in your Wildcat look. I guess you leaving Levi Lewis out there to make you think they can run some kind of reverse or something. But if you bring in somebody else to block or receive, you know, it make it more problematic, I think.
Like you said, Billy Napier trying to shake things up a little bit. Excellent play caller, second-year head coach. Regas is behind Lewis, the setback. He'll get it. Trey Regas. No way. Stopped by Franklin and a host of Mountaineers. So it'll be third down and goal to go for Louisiana, trying to cut this App State lead in half.
You said it, Clay. Franklin, the first to arrive. He gets in there and dives right at the feet of Regas. They got a fourth down stop in the red zone in Lafayette when we were there last. Third down here. There's no way they go for 3, right? They have to go if they don't get this play.
11th play of the series. They've run it 5 times in a row. They're going to pass it here, and they find Mitchell. Touchdown, Louisiana. Elijah Mitchell with his first receiving touchdown of the year, and it's a big one as Louisiana scores on a long drive.
It's a straight out of Nick Saban's playbook. A little pro football there. A zone fake to the right with the back leaking out to the left, and perfect throw by Levi Lewis to get him another touchdown.
Stevie RT with the extra point. And Louisiana says, hold on, everybody. We've got something to say yet in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. 2014.
The Sun Belt Football Championship game, presented on ESPN by Xfinity, is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Share the magic this season with an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy Coca-Cola.
That's what they're playing for, the Sun Belt Conference Championship trophy. App State won it last year, the first conference title game. Louisiana touchdown drives in their last 2 possessions.
They've done a great job the last 2 times. I'm beginning to see a math problem, and I talked about it earlier, and how they need to probably steal a possession some way, somehow. They get the ball to start the second half, but they have done nothing defensively to stop this juggernaut of Appalachian State today.
Yeah, they need to stop. Billy Napier, 40 years old, got a contract extension in late September through 2023. There are a lot of experts that think he isn't going to be in Lafayette that long. Former offensive coordinator at Arizona State. Before that, he was Nick Saban's wide receivers coach. A great offensive mind, and he has got Louisiana back into this game. Darrington Evans, so electric as a return man. He had a 97-yard return in this game last year. He gets 20 on that bringback. Well, this season, Taco Bell is celebrating student sections and passionate fans like these by awarding the Lidmoss Student Section of the Year. App State's fans already on the national watch list. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can get the committee's attention by using hashtag Lidmoss Student Section Contest. Again, App State 5-1 at home this year here at Kid Brewer Stadium. But more impressively, 6-0 on the road.
At 2 Power 5 opponents, too.
Wins at North Carolina and South Carolina. They're still bragging about those wins here, as Hennigan can't make that catch. And they're going to be bragging about those wins for a long time. To go to Chapel Hill, get a victory the way they did, and then even though South Carolina isn't what South Carolina was a few years back, that's still a hard place to get a victory.
Are you kidding me? Everybody talks about the Group of 5 and Power 5. If you put a Group of 5 team in a Power 5 conference, they'd be middle of the road. Well, Appalachian State is showing you that they could go on the road and do these types of things and compete in the ACC.
South Carolina beat Georgia this year. App State goes into Columbia and gets a win. As Evans, it's another first down carry. Mike Jaquette finally wrestles him down, but that's another gain of a dozen for Evans, who's done a little bit of everything today. He's got 2 receiving touchdowns, a rushing touchdown.
The all-purpose utility knife, whatever you want to look or call him in that situation. He's been the guy for the Mountaineers last year, this year. He still has a year of eligibility. I know Eli's a little worried that he might look for that next level, but he's a special running back.
Pitched out to Malik Williams. Got him in space. And he'll get to the 44-yard line, a gain of 7. Well, tomorrow we're going to have the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff matchups in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl to be played on December 28th. Reese and the guys will also unveil the New Year's 6 bowl games, and they'll have the final top 25 in that 4-hour special. It all starts at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on ESPN. Of course, Utah's loss last night opened the door for the Big 12. You get a team in that top 4. As Harrington is brought down just short of the line to gain.
Who's in? I can tell you who's not. The Pac-12 conference for the 3rd consecutive years. The Pac-12 just can't have nice things, Clay.
You gave up on that game at halftime.
I did. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Congratulations to the Oregon Ducks, Justin Herbert, Mario Cristobal, that program. It's an honor to be able to represent your school in the Rose Bowl. Good luck to you.
If they didn't lose to Arizona State, they'd be in the playoff conversation. Well, that loss kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, also they don't lose a game they led for 55 minutes in the opener against an Auburn team either. So I mean, there's a lot of ifs and buts, you know.
Moving the chains again. This offense right around 300 yards here today, 298 to be exact. Zach Thomas came into this game with so much momentum, to a career-high 326 passing last week at Troy. 4 passing touchdowns. He had a rushing touchdown. All of his numbers this season up over last year's numbers when he was the Offensive Player of the Year. And here is this year's Offensive Player of the Year, Darrington Evans, like a battering ram to the 34, a gain of 16. It's just coming in chunks now.
And this is exactly why I think they have to steal that possession. However that comes about here, Darrington Evans just gets through another gaping hole by this offensive line to set up another first down.
We'll feed Evans again for a few. Evans averages 21 touches per game. And Q, he is just fun to watch.
You know what stands out from field level, the jump cut he made on that prior run and his lateral agility. I mean, you go to wrap up on him and poof, he's gone. He's able to sidestep tacklers smoothly.
We talked to him yesterday. He said he played just about every position in high school. He was a wide receiver mostly. Spent a lot of time on the defensive side of the ball. And he didn't get a lot of looks from Division I schools. As Harrington carries this time, gets it to the 25-yard line.
You talked about the chip that this team carries around. It's a real chip. that Eli Drinkwitz has given them. They weren't recruited by North Carolina, South Carolina, Clemson. Those teams, there's a chip that they wear on their shoulder, even though they're the favorite. He's got them believing that. They come into this football game feeling like the underdog and just absolutely dominate from jump.
Eli's poker chip is pretty much worn out. And they're wearing out this Louisiana defense. Harrington joins the party with a touchdown run.
We were talking about the three-headed monster at running back for Louisiana. Well, guess what? Mountaineer fans, you have a three-headed monster here. Harrington's back in the mix. Darrington Evans, the player of the year, and Marcus Williams here, right? Same thing they've been doing all day, running straight between the tackles. Watch the move on the safety here. He's just jukes him out of his jock, essentially. 4-6.
This is cable. You can say that.
I didn't know if I should add a strap or not.
Harrington, his second game back from a foot injury, suffered at Louisiana in early October, and Louisiana wishes that they didn't have to see him again. Look at this Appalachian State drive chart. Impeccable. And when Corey Sutton, their #1 wide receiver, went out for the year with an ACL a couple of weeks ago in the game against Texas State, I think there were a lot of people that were wondering how would this offense be affected. And most people thought it would be in a negative way. But the last couple of weeks, they've been outstanding offensively, even without Sutton.
Even without him. They've run the football more. They put more of a focus on that. Maybe sometimes they felt like they had to get Corey Sutton his touches because he's such an explosive football player. But as you're seeing today, what they have at running back is special.
Let's go to Matt in the studio. All right, we'll see you in just over 4 minutes, Matt. The Rock is rocking, and it has been since the opening kickoff. Appalachian State making a statement. That college football committee, they want to get to that Cotton Bowl. Elijah Mitchell on the carry, gets to the 30. That's a 9-yard gain. And again, you know, they're a dark horse. Memphis, Boise, and Cincinnati all ranked ahead of Appalachian State. Boise takes on Hawaii in the Mountain West Championship game immediately following us here on ESPN.
They've given us every opportunity to say that they're the best group of 5 team out there. Now, I want to see us stop defensively here, right? You can't just be explosive offensively. I want to see us stop here defensively so they can show the committee that they're a complete football team when they look at the film here on the next day before the rankings are released in the morning. But right now, I think they're the best group of 5 football team. And resume, eye test, all of it. The committee sees what I see. They could be playing in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas before we know it.
After the 18-yard run by Mitchell, it's a pass to Bradley to the 35-yard line of Appalachian State, and that's also an 18-yard gain. Gene Charles on the tackle.
Good play fake here. Just goes over the top. Bradley a little bit behind him, but he does a great job of catching the football and moving the chains once again.
Inside handoff. Mitchell gets loose. You're right. The tackling for Appalachian State has left something to be desired. That's 3 big plays in a row for first downs.
And, you know, don't score too quick here, Louisiana. You get the ball to start the second half. The way Appalachian State's moving the football, you give them 2 minutes and they can go to the length of the field and score. So it's going to be all about possessions now for the Raging Cajuns.
They stay on the ground with Regas. And E.J. Scott, another tackle for the Mountaineers. This defense holding teams to 19 points per game. That's 18th best in the country. Last year, they ranked number 4 in scoring defense in the nation. Not much drop-off, despite losing 5 starters from last year's team. Ted Roof has done a great job with this App State defense overall.
Yeah, they fly around. They usually are great tacklers. Not so much today so far, but but they do a tremendous job of tackling in space. They'll be put to the test here in the red zone.
Pressured, Lewis had to get rid of it. Incomplete. That was Taylor bearing down, who has had a monster year out of Miami. The defensive end, very quick.
You know, they tried to run these bootlegs early in the football game to start when they played back in October. And here's an example. Demetrius Taylor's not fooled at all. Makes Levi Lewis get rid of the football a lot earlier than he wanted to.
And Lewis always boots to the left. It's a left-handed offense because he is left-handed.
Yeah, you have to do that. It feeds to where he throws the ball better.
Neil Johnson in motion. The tight end sets up on the right side. Here comes Lewis to the left again, looking downfield, still looking. And he's got to flip it away. Now that was impressive defense by Appalachian State. A coverage play, nothing open downfield. And it's 4th down. And Stevie Artigue will come out to try a field goal attempt.
This is like playing, you know, with a bazooka and a hand grenade. You can't kick field goals here. You can't trade touchdowns for points. There's been no evidentiary proof that they're going to get a stop.
This will be a 39-yard attempt for Artigue, who struggled early in the season, but now he's made 12 kicks in a row, including the game winner last week against ULM. Out of the hold of Bam Jackson on the way, and no good. So that streak is over for Artigue. Missed opportunity on that last drive. Our next UFC Fight Night on ESPN is tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific from Washington, D.C. Overeem versus Rosenstruik in the heavyweight main event. The prelims start at 7 Eastern. Back to work, the Mountaineers. Penalty flag behind the play as Evans is wrangled and dropped at the 19 by Tariq Miller. Let's see what the flag is about.
Holding. Offense, number 58. The penalty is declined. Result of the play, 2nd down.
You know, Billy Napier said we have to finish drives if we're going to win this game. And we saw them leave points on the field in Lafayette in October. Cost them that game. It was only 3 points. 3 points they'd like to have and really needed desperately.
Desperately. He made the point that no one was giving them a chance in this football game. No one out there was. And so in saying that, they had to be aggressive and they had to finish like they weren't able to in the last contest they played in against these Mountaineers.
Minute 23 to go here in the first half. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Of course, it has to do with the Sun Belt Conference. Appalachian State is one of 3 FBS teams entering this season having won 3 or more consecutive conference titles. Who are the other 2, Q and Ryan? You guys got it?
FBS teams, huh?
Here's a hint. They're playing today.
You're playing today, huh? Boise State.
Let
me say Boise State.
Clemson. Clemson would have to be ACC champs for multiple years, correct?
Yeah. Boise State and Clemson, maybe?
Be patient. We'll get to the answer here in a second.
You know, for years...
And Oklahoma's won that league a bunch of years in a row.
For years, I've been watching this Aflac trivia question go across the board and thinking that one day I'd get an opportunity to do it. I better not get it wrong.
Late handoff there. Evans will get it. It'll be 3rd down and 9. All right, here's your answer. And congratulations, Quint, as we get a Louisiana timeout. They've got 1 left. He got them both, Clemson and Oklahoma.
Yeah. For some reason, I got a little flustered, and I saw FBS, and for some reason, I thought of like Group of 5 and went right to Boise State for some reason. But yes, Clemson and Oklahoma dominating both those conferences over the last 4 years.
And Appalachian State has dominated this conference since joining in 2014. They're 41-7 against league opponents since joining the Sun Belt, and 7-0 against Louisiana.
Haven't won a game yet for these Raging Cajuns against the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. They continue to roll over them. Now, they got them in a position here where it's 3rd and long with 1 timeout remaining. If they can get the football back, around the 40-yard line with a minute to go, again, an opportunity to steal a possession. This would be their first stop of the game.
Evans is hit and dropped. 4th down. Jacques Boudreau with a big tackle. And another timeout called for by Louisiana.
Second charge timeout of the half. It's a 30-second timeout. Let's set the game clock to 1 minute.
With a minute 15 to go. The series history, it's been lopsided. The 2nd straight year they're meeting in the conference championship game. You and I were there on October 9th when Appalachian State won a defensive battle 17-7.
Yeah, this is the 4th time they're playing in a calendar year. They know each other well. They're probably the best 2 teams in the Sun Belt. And they're going to continue to have to battle one another. And Louisiana's going to have to find a way to get stops like that.
They need to get off the schneid. Yeah.
And then cash in to break this streak.
Well, they're out of timeouts now. They're going to get the football back, but Levi Lewis and the offense won't have any timeouts to work with. Guerra back to return, standing at the Louisiana 30. Xavier Sabat, his first punt of the game. Fair catch called for, and fans want a penalty flag, and they're not going to get one. I think they thought there was a block in the back down there. That's a 46-yard punt for the Australian Sabach. And with 1 minute and 9 seconds, Levi Lewis and the Raging Cajuns will come out and try to get a score here before half.
Very capable of scoring with this much time in college football. Of course, the clock stops after every first down gain. So very capable of doing that. The best thing they can do right here is take a couple shots, but don't forget you have your checkdowns in your 2-minute drill. Somehow getting points for them would be huge since they get the ball to start the second half.
So there is a timeout remaining for Louisiana. Apparently the officials charged one of those timeouts to App State. Calais on that carry. Keem Davis Gaither making that tackle. Clock moving. Pumping. Out of the pocket. Lewis. Incomplete. Intended for Neil Johnson. So now 3rd down. Clock stops with 43 seconds to go.
Little surprised they ran the ball on 1st down. And then they got the matchup they wanted. A one-on-one situation with the running back on a linebacker, and Lewis, unbeknownst to me, just moved outside the pocket and then threw it in the dirt.
Raymond Calais in the backfield. Number 2, Jamarcus Bradley, the receiver at the bottom of your screen. To the sideline, that is caught. And that is a good catch by Khalif Gossett for a 1st down, stopping the clock with 37 seconds. A lanky junior, 6'6", 188 pounds is Gossett. He'd be a guy in a jump ball situation in the end zone if Louisiana can get a chance at a Hail Mary pass. Nice catch by Bam Jackson over the middle. And they'll hurry up. They got a timeout, but they're not going to call it. .25 seconds to go before half. Pressure. Lewis stays clean. Caught. Devin Pauly with the catch at the 31-yard line.
But he falls down in the field of play and doesn't get out of bounds.
And now Louisiana calls that final timeout to stop the clock with 14 seconds.
Yeah, great back-to-back plays there, quickly done. But they substituted on offense, which means the official can hold for the defense to follow suit. And by doing that, they let seconds and seconds tick off the clock. Now only 14 seconds left. They're at about the 31-yard line. They probably have a chance to maybe take one shot to get them inside the 20, and then maybe a 1 or 2 into the end zone if they decide to kick a field goal. It's up to them, but they have a shot here. 14 seconds left. No timeouts, though. All passes are going to have to be past the first down marker or towards the sideline.
Remember what Ted Roof, the defensive coordinator for Appalachian State, said this week. You know, we can't let Levi Lewis or Jamarcus Bradley beat us. Those two guys we have to at least contain. I think they have done a really good job here in the first half of limiting Bradley's touches, and Lewis hasn't been able to do what Levi Lewis has been doing most of the year. Lewis pushed out of the pocket, throws across his body, gets it away, out of bounds. As Nick Hampton, the terrific outside linebacker, was applying the pressure. Second down. Out of timeouts, Louisiana down 35-14 here in a first half that has been dominated by the Mountaineers.
Electing to bring out the field goal kicker and not try a play with 8 seconds to go out of timeouts.
What do you think of this, Ryan?
Well, I mean, I don't think they're going to get a shot to the end zone in those 8 seconds. Maybe they'd have to take one big shot and hope that the clock wouldn't run out. So if you're looking to steal some points here, this is the best shot you have.
Stevie Artigue, his career long is 49. This would be 1 yard short of a career best. App State is going to make him think about it. They use a timeout. No, it's going to be a delay of game call.
Second down.
Took too much time getting that field goal unit out. And so now this is going to make it a much more challenging kick for Artigue.
Yeah, 53-yard attempt now,
which would be a career high. Into the construction behind the goalposts. Snap, hold, kick is long enough. He got it! Stevie Artigue with a 53-yarder to get some points on the board ahead of half.
Smart move by Billy Napier to get a point total here to get him to the halftime, because guess what? They get the ball coming back out. All positive things entering that halftime. Wonderful hold. Great follow through. Just waiting to see if it had enough length, and too big of a celebration there. It's just like, I got it, coach.
Well, that brings Louisiana within 18 points. But maybe that's something they can build off of for the second half.
Well, yeah, that's what I was just kind of saying. You know, just a positive image in your mind as you go into the locker room, knowing you get the ball to come out, right? They get a touchdown when they come out. All of a sudden, it's an 11-point game, a 2-possession game. And then they have to find a way, like we talked about, to get another stop or steal a possession along the way in the second half.
Even though Appalachian State has dominated this series, these games are always entertaining. It's not going Louisiana's way so far today, but maybe, again, something they can carry into halftime and build off of in the second half. Evans down at the 20. That's the last play of the first half hour of this Sun Belt Conference Championship game. 35-17. App State trying to make a case for the Cotton Bowl. The Lexus halftime report is coming up on the other side of this commercial timeout. Matt, Joey, and Jesse will have it for you. Big lead at the Rock for the Mountaineers at the break. Welcome back to the Sun Belt Conference Championship game on ESPN, presented by Xfinity. 9 championship games today. Of course, the Pac-12 was decided last night with that win by Oregon. Looks good for App State to win their 4th straight conference title. Tell you what, the running backs have been outstanding for the Mountaineers, Ryan Leaf. even in the passing game.
Yeah, we talked about it in the open. Darrington Evans has been so dynamic catching the football out of the backfield. 2 receiving touchdowns already today, but it's been the other 2. The three-headed monster for Appalachian State. Marcus Williams between the tackles. Harrington as well gets his just due right between those tackles. Makes a safety miss. Strolls into the end zone. We talked about those three-headed monster running backs for Louisiana. Turns out, across the sideline, Appalachian State had 3 of their own.
One of those running backs, Calais, on the return, as Louisiana will have the football to start here in the second half. But Appalachian State, 6 possessions in the first 30 minutes, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, Louisiana's got to figure out how to steal a possession. They got 1 stop and got 3 points out of it. But if it continues the way it did in the first half, they're going to need to do something maybe outside the box, onside kick, fake punt, something like that to get that extra possession.
Well, I'm sure the wheels are turning for Billy Napier, not only the head coach but the play caller. And again, Louisiana snake bit when it comes to App State, 0-7 all time against the Mountaineers. Play fake, that was tipped at the line and it lands incomplete for Lewis. Let's go down to Quinn.
Well, Eli Drinkwitz focused on maturity. He said, this is not new territory for us. We've been up before. Just looking to the seniors now to lead effectively. He said the biggest challenge for him was continuing to be aggressive while managing the clock. Meanwhile, Billy Napier on the far side, Louisiana, said we got to play with a sense of urgency, but not chase. Understand that every possession is paramount, but we can't get desperate and chase.
Again, a big field goal just before half to give this Louisiana team some life, you would think. Lewis is caught from behind and pulled down at the 27 by Davis Gaither. And it'll be 3rd down. Taylor and Davis Gaither, the 2 leaders on this defense for the Mountaineers.
Missed opportunity there on 1st down, and then just Demetrius Taylor just explodes through the line of scrimmage, makes Levi Lewis get outside. He's able to get a positive and set up a shorter 3rd down, but a couple missed opportunities right off the bat here to start the second half.
Cajuns haven't had a lot of 3rd down opportunities in this game. They're 3 for 5. 3rd down and 3. App State brings the pressure. Hit as he throws. Lewis got rid of it. It hangs up there and lands incomplete. Jordan Fair, the linebacker, on the blitz, popped Lewis, and it was an ineffective pass. 4th down.
Jordan Fair, shot out of a cannon right here. Simply just splits the 2 linemen. Not ready, and Levi Lewis has to throw way earlier than he needed to. He had a chance, a one-on-one on the outside, but again, an opportunity presented to the Raging Cajuns, and they go 3 and out.
Jordan Fair, just a freak athlete. 6'3", 230, benches 415, runs a 4.40. Fair catch called for by Hennigan, and App State will have it for the first time in the second half at the 22. So the running attack for Appalachian State, all 3 of those running backs with rushing touchdowns, and then Evans, a couple of receiving scores.
We talked about the three-headed monster on the other side of the football there, or on the other side of the stadium in Louisiana, but instead Harrington, Evans, and Williams, all 3 of them have produced not only in the yardage side of things, but getting scores. All 3 have rushing touchdowns today, 2 receiving more for Evans.
We were told that Zach Thomas would run it more today, and when he has run it for Appalachian State, he's been pretty effective, but really it hasn't been all that necessary. That was nearly intercepted. It was Cam Pettisclo who nearly jumped that route for Henry Pearson, the tight end.
No, it's a wonderful job by Pettisclo. He just simply puts his foot down and goes after it.
The race for the New Year's Six, of course, the group of 5 teams trying to get to that Cotton Bowl, and the Appalachian State Mountaineers making a case here the way they're playing today, but they need a lot to go their way. Zach Thomas is going to be sacked for the first time today. Zion Hill, the nose guard, got in. That's a loss of 5. And it'll bring up third down.
You talked about everything having to go right for Appalachian State to get into that Cotton Bowl. But I would argue if the committee was really looking at resume and eye test, all of it, what Appalachian State has done this year with wins on the road against the Power 5 and what they've done in their conference, and if they continue to do what they're doing in this championship game, they are just as deserving as anybody else.
Nice flip inside. They're not going to get the first down, but a really good looking play to Thomas Hennigan, the receiver. He picks up 12, but Louisiana, credit to that defense under Ron Roberts, the defensive coordinator. They get a stop on App's first series of the second half.
First time we've seen that. Both teams making stops defensively, and it looks more like the game we saw in October. Now Louisiana's got to do something with the football and get points here.
Eric Gare, pretty good return man out of Mobile, Alabama, comes up, makes the catch at the 31, takes a hit, and he's dropped. Great coverage by Tyler Bird, the inside linebacker on special teams, makes the play. No gain for Gare on that punt return. Appalachian State has led from the outside. Penalty flag, free play for Louisiana. With 12:26 to go here in the third.
Defense, number 38. 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Clay, you saw me adamant up here in the booth. You run that play. You run the play for the penalty, and you have a wide open guy streaking down the field, and you don't get him the football. Just a huge missed opportunity there for the Raging Cajuns to get back in this football game with one shot.
And Demetrius Taylor was offside, free play, and Louisiana can't take advantage. Jamal Bell was wide open. Elijah Mitchell on the run. And he'll get maybe a yard before Jordan Fair wraps him up. Winner of this game will be the champion in the Sun Belt Conference. If it's Louisiana, they're on to the New Orleans Bowl. If it's Appalachian State, it's a little less clear. Of course, they are still in the conversation for a trip to the Cotton Bowl. Potentially another bowl other than the New Orleans Bowl, which traditionally has gone to the Sun Belt champion. There's a catch by Jalen Williams, the junior out of Louisiana. LSU transfer, picks up 10. Here's a first down for the Raging Cajuns. They've had some chunk plays today, Ryan.
No, they've had 9 of them. You talked to me about it during the break a little bit there. 6 rushes over 10 yards, 3 passes over 15 plus. Those are big plays that Eli Drinkwitz thought this team was capable of doing. They just haven't been able to stop them on defense.
Pierce Meagle went in motion. The power to the left side. They run that way. But Elijah Dirasuba, the defensive end coming back from a foot injury, makes the tackle. Maybe a yard pickup on that play. This defensive front for Appalachian State is interesting. They've got 4 former walk-ons up there. But it is a very productive bunch.
Super productive. And when Taylor Scott and Dirasuba aren't the guys, they got Blackstock, Sperlin. They got quality guys up front that make a difference.
Blackstock blocked a field goal attempt against Louisiana back in October on special teams. Here's Mitchell trying to get to the outside and find some leverage. But Desmond Franklin, who has made a lot of tackles today, runs it down. It's a gain of 6. Well, it's going to be third down again for Louisiana. Remember back in October, too, Ryan, Louisiana really struggled on third down. They were 4 of 13 in that game, and they only had 1 conversion in the second half. They need this one to keep the drive alive. Mitchell stood up and dumped short of the line to gain. Desmond Franklin and Trey Cobb combine on the stop.
Trey Cobb really is the guy that gets in the hole there and makes a play, wraps him up around the feet, and gets the big fella down. They're going to go for it on 4th down here.
Kind of feels like they have to.
You got to. I've been saying the whole first half that there's a math problem. There's a possession problem, so you just can't give them away. So, yeah, this is probably one of those analytics things that he looked at the book and says, here we go.
Billy Napier, the Sun Belt Conference Coach of the Year, also the play caller, going for it on 4th down. Unless they're going to just try and draw him off. They call timeout.
Louisiana, first charge timeout of the half.
Lewis heading to the sideline. The Cajuns down with 9:20 to go in the 3rd.
The Sun Belt Football Championship game, presented on ESPN by Xfinity, is brought to you by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Back in the beautiful mountain region of Boone, North Carolina, where Appalachian State is the defending Sun Belt Conference champion, and they have held the Ragin' Cajuns offense in check today. One of the best scoring offenses in the country, almost 39 points per game. And Billy Napier is going to go for it here on 4th down after the timeout. 4th down and 2 from the 46 of App State.
I'm running some kind of play action, boot out, get him on his, make him a dual threat here.
Instead they pitch it to Mitchell. And he got enough. Elijah Mitchell will keep this drive alive for Louisiana. First 4th down attempt today. Louisiana's been pretty good on 4th down throughout the year. Maybe they're going to measure.
Yeah, they're probably going to measure. Quint, what did you think there, that play call where they were able to go a little sweep? I thought they'd be more power, but
yeah, I was a little surprised as well. I thought it'd be more quarterback run, but they run right behind Max Mitchell and Kevin Dodson. They're two stronger offensive linemen.
At first, I didn't think this was even close. I thought it was a for sure first down for Mitchell. But it's just by the nose of the ball, and that second effort by Mitchell was key.
Yeah, that's exactly right here, Clay. Right, the second effort here, just a student body right. He gets contacted right there, but was able to just get enough just by the tip of the football.
Napier knew it all along, right?
Yeah.
Quint, you're right. Deep shot. Looking for Jackson. Overthrown. And we've seen Lewis overthrow a few receivers here today.
That one, it seemed more like Bam Jackson just couldn't find the football because it was a pretty well thrown ball on his outside shoulder. And if you're running a fade, especially from the inside, I don't think you could have thrown it much better than that. But you're exactly right, Quint. They took a shot right after that big 4th down conversion.
Jamarcus Bradley, their best receiver, only 2 catches today. They'll throw. There is Bradley, first down. Bradley headed to the East-West Shrine Bowl. Again, Ted Roof targeted that man and said he's public enemy #1. We have to contain 2 for the most part. App State has today.
Just a run pass option.
Lewis juking and jiving and gets inside the 30. Ball came out. Fumble. And it's recovered by Appalachian State. Desmond Franklin having an all-star performance this afternoon with the recovery. And it's the 2nd turnover for the Ragin' Cajuns.
Lewis gets outside here, but he doesn't protect the football once he does. And Noel Cook from behind knocks it out. Desmond Franklin, Johnny on the spot. Another turnover. We talked about it. They couldn't have turnovers if they were to get back into this football game. And prime example, the 2nd one of the football game. Now will Appalachian State take advantage and put together one of those patented Mountaineer drives?
They'll start the drive with Thomas. Big run. Slides down at the 50-yard line. 21 yards for Zach Thomas.
early on in the game, we were going to look for dedicated runs here on first and second down. Exactly that. He didn't even pretend he was going to hand the ball off. Darrington Evans becomes a blocker, and Zach Thomas is just off to the races. Gets enough, gets down.
Reverse flea flicker. Thomas touched, and he'll just fling it away. Incomplete. And we're going to go to the studio for an update with Matt Berry.
Ruling is there was a receiver in the area.
Great game in Detroit. It's been a little more one-sided here in Boone, North Carolina. Appalachian State has led from the outset. They've got it near midfield off the Louisiana turnover, their second of the game. And here's Thomas again, looking like a track hurdler. Went over a tackler, and he'll get to the 48-yard line, a gain of 3. Mike Jaquette with the tackle. It's third down coming up, but turnovers early on in the season, Ryan, were a big problem for Louisiana. They had 9 in the first 5 games, but only 2 in the last 7. They really cleaned some things up, but we've seen 2 here today, and it's been a big part of the way this game is turning out.
Yeah, both attributed to Levi Lewis there in the running game. One in the mesh point early in the football game, and right there, he's got a feel no cook coming from the backside, but great job by him of punching it out.
Pressure off the edge, and heated up, and down goes Thomas. Joe Dillon with the sack. Number 5 all-time in sacks at Louisiana. That's the 18th of his career, and it's fourth down.
Wonderful response here by the defense, who in the first half couldn't have stopped anything, and already right now 2 stops, and that one after a turnover. So wonderful job by this defense to get the football back to the Raging Cajuns.
Xavier Sabach, who sat in a rocking chair during the first half, has been called on twice here in the second half. Good punt. Guerra is going to be leveled inside the 10. And Louisiana will start their next drive at the 9-yard line. Tyler Bird flying down and making the hit on spell. Who dat became a Saints rallying cry. Plus, Randy Moss ranks the best catches from Championship Saturday in college football, and Herbie joins Countdown to preview College Football Playoff Selection Show. It all starts tomorrow, special time, 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN, before the top 4 is revealed. Trey Regis in the backfield on first down, and it's Levi Lewis on the keeper, and he's going to be shoved out at the sideline by Desmond Franklin. And no penalty flag. It's a clean push. Gain of 2 only for the quarterback.
Zone read here just keeps it himself and gets outside, but not fast enough to turn the corner before Desmond Franklin gives him a little friendly shove out of bounds.
Franklin, 3rd-team all-conference this year, but he's playing all-world today. I mean, he's been on a lot of stops. He's been around the football a lot, affecting plays.
He was going to be asked to be up there and be that 8th guy in the box to stop this wonderful running game and attack by Louisiana.
Second down. And it's intercepted. Josh Thomas. Nobody's going to touch him as he goes to the end zone. A pick 6 for Josh Thomas. Second year in a row, Thomas gets an interception in the conference championship game. This one he brings back for a touchdown.
They've run this play a few times where they run an RPO and send Bradley right behind him. This time, watch Josh Thomas. He takes a step back, hides, and then just jumps right up and makes a great grab, but then converts it into points defensively.
Levi Lewis. All right, Matt, thank you very much. The Lane train going to Oxford, and the Owls trying to give him a nice going-away present.
You know, I went down to FAU last year to speak to the team, and And Coach Kiffin sends me photos all the time of the dock where he fishes off the sunsets. I was a little taken back when I heard that he was going to move to the Grove.
Good return for Louisiana. And they're going to have it at the 37-yard line. So Louisiana with 3 turnovers today, and App State has turned those into 14 points.
Here a mesh point mistake by Levi Lewis. App State jumps on it, and then here Noel Cook just comes from behind, knocks the ball out. Franklin Johnny on the spot, and right here was just a great play by Josh Thomas, hiding back there and then leaping to make the great grab and turn it into points. You can't expect to win against Appalachian State if you turn the football over 3 times. Not against this offense. App State plus 10 on the season in turnover margin, number 1 in the Sun Belt.
Pitch and catch, Jamal Bell, minimal gain. Josh Thomas, senior out of Montgomery, Alabama, second-year captain. You talk to Ted Roof and he'll say, he's the glue of my secondary. And he said he's like a second defensive coordinator out there.
Well, what he did is he saw the play happen a couple times during the game. He got his hand on it the last time, and this time it's just a product of him watching and being ready for it and making the play when presented.
To the left, Lewis. He hasn't been fast enough today for these defenders. That's Taylor and Scott chasing him down. It seems like everybody in an Appalachian State uniform defensively has been in on at least 1 or 2 tackles. Everybody getting involved.
And they have been that way all year long. They've been the best defense in the conference. A lot of times they get overshadowed because the offense is just so darn good. But what they've shown up here, in particular in the last 2 series, getting those turnovers, great job by the Mountaineer defense.
On 3rd down, they rush 3. Crossing route, Williams the catch. That'll be a 1st down for the Cajuns. Gain of 13 for Jalen Williams as we go down to Q.
You guys mentioned it earlier, but when you compare Memphis to this App State team, the thing that stands out, having seen Memphis last week, is App State's defense. This is just a better group from top to bottom than Memphis has put out this year. Yeah, I like Memphis's offense, but they don't have the D that App State has.
And you've been saying that all along. You've said for several weeks that this is the best team in the group of 5.
Yeah, and luckily for me, I've got to see both of them, right? I've seen Boise, I've seen Memphis, and now for the 3rd time, I'm seeing Appalachian State.
Here's a big run for Calais, the speedster. On a Breaux Bridge, Louisiana run out by Josh Thomas. But so many things have to go Appalachian State's way beyond just winning here. They need Cincinnati to beat Memphis. They need Boise State to lose to Hawaii in their game in the Mountain West later today. And even then, Ryan, it might not be enough.
It might not be enough. Cincinnati's already ahead of them. All of a sudden, they beat a 17th ranked Memphis team, American Conference champion. It would be very, very difficult. That ominous day, or more importantly, night in October on Halloween night, when Georgia Southern came to town and interrupted an undefeated season in progress.
Desmond Franklin walking off the field. It looks like he's going to be okay, and that's good news for Appalachian State. He's been terrific.
Yeah, both safeties have. I mean, you can't take a look at any number out there wearing black today that you wouldn't say is playing one of his best football games. Offensively, defensively, special teams, all of it.
They held Louisiana to 7 points in October. They've given up 17 today, but they've been dominant doing it. That one thrown away by Lewis. Noel Cook was up in Levi's grill.
That boot to the left didn't work last time. It's not working today. They continue to go back to the well a little bit, but tendency breaker, right? You might have to roll out to your right and just have to flip your hips a little bit better to throw the football.
2nd down at 10. Lewis throws. Bradley. Penalty flag. Looks like pass interference is going to go against Shamar Jean Charles. Very talented junior corner
very difficult to defend a back shoulder throw.
Pass interference, defense, number 8. The ball will be spotted at the 2-yard line from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Gene Charles just, grabs his jersey there and pulls him away from making the catch.
We haven't seen a lot of penalties, though, in this game. It's been pretty clean on both sides. Jason Autry, our lead official, has pretty much been off the microphone today.
And it's what you want to expect in a game where you have the 2 best teams in your conference playing against each other. Focused, fundamentally and efficient.
Mitchell hit at the line. Trey Cobb, the backup to DeMarco Jackson at inside linebacker. And we've got another Mountaineer down, and it is Cobb.
Yeah, he grabbed at his knee immediately after making that big hit. Watch him just crash the party here right through and just makes a great stop. I don't know if he gets, it looks like he gets fallen on. He grabs immediately at that knee area.
This defense for Appalachian State, they've been lucky when it comes to injuries. The starting group has stayed healthy throughout the year.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of the Monday night Patrick Mahomes play where his knee was down on the ground and got landed on, and it looked like the kneecap kind of may have moved a little bit, dislocated, but he's
putting pressure on it.
Yeah, he's walking off pretty.
This red zone defense has really been something to watch throughout the year for Appalachian State. Remember, they stopped the Cajuns on 4th and 1 at the 1 in early October. It was a really big moment in the game. And here's Louisiana in the red zone. 2nd down, goal to go. If Louisiana is going to have any chance to get back in this game, they have to score a touchdown here. Mitchell picking his way, runs into traffic and is brought down to the turf. 3rd down and goal to go. And Shamar Gene Charles is going to be credited with the tackle. He was called for that penalty moments ago. So what is Billy Napier thinking here?
Well, if he's going to go for it on 4th down, which I believe he has to, then it wouldn't surprise me if they ran the football again here, knowing that they could throw it on 4th down.
That's their strength. They'll send the tight end to the left. Throwing to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Louisiana gets a much-needed touchdown from their star receiver, Jamarcus Bradley.
Play action fake to Mitchell, and he just boots out. And it was a great route by Bradley to take in Gene Charles inside and then bank out. Wonderfully thrown football by Lewis. You said it, they needed 6 points there to stay within somewhat striking distance.
Stevie Artigue with the point after. And it's 42-24 with 2:41 to go in the 3rd. For Bradley, his 8th receiving touchdown of the year. And that brings us to leaflets. And I got to believe this is going to be college football playoff related.
Well, with the loss of Utah last night to Oregon and removing the Pac-12, you go down the list here. Who has the best chance of being in the college football playoff in that 4th spot? And it's got to be a 1-loss Georgia team to upset LSU tonight in the SEC championship. If that doesn't play out, a 1-loss Oklahoma team who's currently beating Baylor in the Big 12 championship 20-13. If Baylor's able to win, they're in. A 2-loss Georgia and a 2-loss Wisconsin team are both on the outside looking in. So right now, it's really about those top 3.
Yeah, and if Georgia wins that game against LSU, the top 4 remains the same. It's just the order's going to be shuffled.
Right, they'll shuffle it around. I suspect Ohio State goes to 1, Clemson to 2, Georgia to 3, LSU to 4, which would set up some really great semifinals. I'd love to see that Georgia-Clemson game in the national semifinal. That'd be fun.
So back to an 18-point difference in this football game.
Watch for an onside kick here.
Instead, it's going to be a touchback. And with that, let's go to the studio and check in with Matt. It's been a while, but it's a big one for him. And you were talking about Oklahoma's lead. There you see how they did it.
Just biding his time for another shot at a touchdown there in the Big 12 championship.
Boy, what a story Baylor is. What a job Matt Rule has done as head coach of the Bears. And how about these two head coaches we're seeing go head-to-head today? Eli Drinkwitz and Billy Napier matching wits for the first time in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game, second time this season. Back in October, App State won 17-7. They have never lost to Louisiana. 7-0 all time.
You just watched a couple coaches go on, possibly to Florida State and Mississippi and Kiffin and Norvell. I'm telling you right now, both these coaches.
Big hit. Ball is loose. And Louisiana's got it. A.J. Washington with a strip sack of Zach Thomas, and it causes a turnover. And Zach Thomas, the star quarterback for the Mountaineers, is down.
Throwing of a fumble recovered by the defense is under further review.
Zion Hill, the fumble recovery inside the 15-yard line. They're going to take another look at it upstairs. But the biggest concern for Appalachian State right now is their junior quarterback, Zach Thomas, not able to get up after the play.
It's a very physical hit. He came free. And just plants his right underneath that right shoulder as it extends. And you're in one of the most vulnerable positions when you're throwing the football like that. Washington just comes in from the blind side. No one sees it at all. And what I'm worried about, it could be something like a labrum tear where your arm is extending and it's just forced upward. I had one of those injuries while I was in the NFL, and it's not something that really is painful until you're trying to extend. It's good to see him up.
He's a fighter. Now here's Jason Autry.
After further review, the ruling of a fumble recovered by the defense is confirmed. First down, Louisiana.
First turnover for Appalachian State today. And Louisiana has it inside the red zone. Let's go down to Quint.
Yeah, well, I talked about Thomas's injury history early in the show, how he overcame a broken tibia and fibula in high school. 2018, he did have a concussion, but that looked like, as he walked off, it looked like it might have been more of a shoulder collarbone than a head injury.
And maybe a little pride.
Well, the fans here hoping he can continue. All-conference performer quarterback the last 2 years. Reagan's has stood up at the line as this defense is going to be challenged here with the position of the football after the turnover. Louisiana in a great spot to take some momentum.
Yeah, if they're able to get a touchdown here, right, they cut it to a two-possession game in terms of a touchdown and a two-point conversion and a field goal. So this is really important for them to get into the end zone and convert after their defense gave them the football back.
Second down and 8. Lewis looking to the end zone, throws, and incomplete. Bam Jackson was the guy he was eyeing. Lewis, 228 yards passing. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
I really felt like he was going to have to go over the 300-yard mark today to win this football game, and not necessarily in mop-up time, but during the duration of the football game. And they're going to go for it, I think, probably. They need a field goal at some point, so if they don't get it here, they may go for it for a field goal if they don't get this on third down.
Calais motions back into the backfield. Lewis dancing, being chased. And he's going to throw it away. Finally tracked down and hit by Taylor.
But that ball did not pass the line of scrimmage. They're going to give him probably intentional grounding. That's going to move the ball back for this field goal attempt if they're going to go for it.
Intentional grounding. Offense, number 1. No receiver in the area of the pass. The ball did not cross the line of scrimmage. The penalty is the ball, the spot of the foul with a loss of down. 4th down.
He does a tremendous job of making guys miss. But once you're out of the position here, you've got to get rid of the football past the line of scrimmage. Instead, it's a loss of down and where the penalty occurred, which moves them back to another 50-plus yard attempt.
That was a loss of 25 yards. And now Stevie Artigue, who has shown that he can kick long distance, hit a 53-yarder just ahead of halftime, sets up from 52. Can he do it again? Not this time. That is a deflating loss of an opportunity for Louisiana.
The defense finally gets a big-time play, gives it to the offense in a very scoreable position, and their leader at quarterback makes a fatal mistake that costs them points and momentum.
Let's see if Zach Thomas is back on the field at quarterback.
He is.
For App State, and he is. That is great to see. He was dinged up on that last possession. Darrington Evans in the backfield with just over a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. And Evans will get the carry. Conference Offensive Player of the Year will get 2 more yards. Here's that hit that Thomas took, and it looked like it affected his throwing shoulder.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're looking to the left, and then Washington just comes from the blind side and puts his helmet perfectly right underneath that shoulder, almost in the armpit. And if you watch his elbow kind of go back up into the body, and probably a little bit of pride, but a little stinger or something that happened right there. Came over to the sideline, got looked at.
We'll see if this affects play calling going forward for Eli Drinkwitz. Maybe they're not going to throw it as much with Thomas. They stay on the ground. It's Evans going to the 41-yard line. Drinkwitz told us we'd like to run Thomas more anyway, and perhaps that's how they use their quarterback in the offense.
I wouldn't necessarily want him to take many more hits, but the way they run the football, I continue to hand the football off and run this clock out in the 4th quarter.
To the 4th quarter we go.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
In the Sun Belt Conference Championship game, App State trying to win this league for the 4th straight year. They've got a comfortable cushion. From the 41, 3rd down. Third and 4 for Thomas. That's his first pass since the hit, and it's batted down. He had some zip on that. It's incomplete, and App State will have to punt, but I think that's a good sign for the people that are concerned about his throwing up.
Yeah, I do too. Chris Moncrief just does a tremendous job of getting his hands up and knocking down that quick game. When your quarterback only takes 1-step drop or 3-step drop, when you know you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up in the air, knock it down. They're able to get another stop defensively and get the football back.
So Xavier Sabach will come out to punt. Eric Guerra is going to run toward the football and field it at the 11-yard line, and that's where Louisiana will start. He was angled out of bounds at the 11. So that ACC title game, a lot of people have been impressed by Trevor Lawrence over the last month and a half, and they should be. And you look at the numbers from last year compared to this year, and really not a big difference. Great production.
Great production. I spent some time with the young man when I was in Clemson before the season started, and the wide receiver room was just got so much more talented. And some of those early interceptions.
Return, personal foul, blindside block. Receiving team, number 30. The penalty is half the distance from the end of the play. It'll be first down, Louisiana.
Some of those early interceptions during the year were him just taking chances, and people were like, those are 50-50 balls. Not with that talent in that room. It's more like 80-20 balls for those wide receivers. So if I'm the quarterback and I got guys like that out on the perimeter, I'm throwing that thing up too.
Alongside Ryan Leaf, I'm Clay Matvick. Quinn Kesnick down on the field on this championship Saturday. The college football playoff selection show is tomorrow. And Clemson, barring something unforeseen tonight against Virginia, will be in that top 4. So the ball after the penalty at the 6-yard line for Louisiana.
Well, there's no evidence to back this up that they can go 95 yards here and get a score, but they're going to need to offensively if they feel like they're going to get back in this game at any bit.
They're going to need to do it fairly quickly too, because at some point time's going to start working against them. Mitchell will plow ahead, and he's going to get 7. Elijah Mitchell is the leading rusher for Louisiana today. He's the leading rusher on the season. He's got 15 carries, 75 yards, but none of the running backs have a touchdown today. That has been rarely the case this year. In fact, all 3 have scored a couple of times in games this year, as Mitchell carries again. In fact, 3 times, all 3 of the running backs, Mitchell, Calais, and Regis, have scored touchdowns in the same game this season.
You know, they've been the 3-headed monster we talked about in the open, but it's only been really Mitchell who's made an impact against this defense. We're going to need to see more here from everybody to get back in this football game.
Mitchell motions out as a receiver. Lewis slides up, throws incomplete. Neil Johnson, the true freshman tight end from Mesquite, Texas, puts it on the turf. And now he's going to limp toward the sideline.
First thing Billy Napier says, you eat with those hands. He just turns his eyes a little too quick and then has a cramp come up in that calf and hobbles off the field, setting up 2nd down.
2nd and 10. It'll be Mitchell trying to cut the corner, can't do it. Jordan Fair, the leading tackler for Appalachian State, and one of the best at doing that in the league.
Yeah, the tackling machine here at this linebacker position. He just reads it, slides outside, gets his hand on the offensive lineman, and just gets a hold of Mitchell and just brings him to the ground once again.
3rd down and 9. Louisiana 5 of 10 today. They need the 31-yard line. Corner blitz. In trouble. Lewis is going to hoist it out of bounds again. Nick Hampton came on the blitz, and Lewis knew immediately he had no shot at converting the 3rd down.
It's an incomplete pass.
You know, I got to say, I'm really impressed with the gap integrity of these guys. When you watch somebody come inside and then Demetrius Taylor just covers up the gap on the outside where Levi Lewis can't go anywhere and he has to throw the football away once again. It's been a tale of 2 halves. Defensively, they couldn't do anything for Louisiana in the first half. They've made stops. They've got turnovers. Offensively, it's been a different story for the Raging Cajuns.
This is Reese Burns, the Australian, with the punt. He's going to check up at the 37-yard line. 12:53 to go. Back at Boone in a moment.
The Sun Belt Football Championship game is presented on ESPN by Xfinity. Get the ultimate in-home Wi-Fi experience with Xfinity X5. And in part by Pizza Hut, official pizza of college football. Know what out-pizzas the Hut.
Sights and sounds from the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. And Datrick Harrington just carried close to midfield for Appalachian State. They've got the football. They've got a big lead. We're under 13 minutes until the end. App State in great position to win this championship game for the 2nd straight year. They would be conference champs for the 4th straight year. Alongside Ryan Leaf, I'm Clay Matvick. Quinn Kesnick down on the field on this beautiful afternoon in Mountain Country here in North Carolina. Just terrific weather for December. Harrington, man, he's been impressive. has a touchdown run today. He's going to be a yard short of the first down. Chris Moncrief on the tackle. Let's go to Matt. Lane Kiffin is going to leave as a 10-win coach at FAU.
He's really done something special down there with, with not a lot of talent. He's got to find different ways to win football games, and he's been really good, and he's going to get another opportunity in the SEC.
Can he do it in the SEC West? That's the question. The toughest division in college football. That's a first down for Appalachian State. And let's talk coaching carousel. Of course, Kiffin goes to Oxford. Mike Norvell seems to be the guy that's going to take over at Florida State, and Chris Peterson left a vacancy at Washington, but it was quickly filled by Jimmy Lake, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, my Cougars didn't like to hear that. Jimmy Lake has dominated Mike Leach in that offense for years now. But Lane Kiffin in Mississippi, getting back in the SEC, but going to the SEC West where it's brutal at the top. I mean, it really, really is. That's going to be difficult. Norvell of Tallahassee, I think, is a great fit.
Marcus Williams, another strong run to the 20-yard line. That's going to be the problem for whoever takes that job at Arkansas, too.
Those are two jobs right there where during Hugh Freeze's time where they got him to the #1 team in the country and they got him to beat Alabama, right? It came with some asterisks, right? It became recruiting violations, things of that sort. How do you compete against the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Auburns? How are you able to do that in the West? I thought the Missouri job might be more optimal for some of these guys where you don't have to battle those guys week in, week out. Not to say that Florida and Georgia aren't super good as well.
Another handoff to Williams. Second down. Let's go down to Q for more on the coaches.
It was interesting to get a gauge, talking to Coach Napier and Drinkwitz this week and then pre-game, and they agree with you guys. I think that Arkansas job is a difficult assignment. And if you're Napier and Drinkwitz, both under 40, Napier's 40 and Eli's 36, you're in a great spot right now. You're building franchises that are going to be successful. I don't think they're in a rush to take a job that is maybe more challenging than the one they currently have at a pay raise that, is not going to pay off in the long run.
It seems to me if one of these two is going to go, it's going to be Napier. A couple of years into the job at Louisiana. On the sideline, Williams again on the carry for Appalachian State. Third down coming up. For Eli Drinkwitz, this is his first head coaching job, and he's only been here 1 year. Now, it's been a marvelous success. They're going to get 12 wins here in just over 9 minutes. But it just doesn't seem like he'd be ready yet for that next move. That's my opinion.
No, and I agree with you. And I think that the idea of Darrington Evans possibly coming back, and then you have Zach Thomas coming back as well. You're going to have the same type of team in place a year from now. Yeah. You continue to do it. You find a way to get over the Georgia Southern hump maybe next year, and now you're talking about an undefeated team and a group of 5 champ for the New Year's 6.
Darrington Evans straight into the line. Fourth down coming up. Zion Hill made the tackle. Helmet comes off down there. Now we got a timeout on the field, and while we take that timeout, let's go to Matt Berry again in the studio. You just never know who's going to be the star.
What a great game. What a job Matt Rule has done at Baylor. I can't speak more highly of his performance there, taking over a team that was 1-11. And then to get to a place right now where they're right on the verge. They win this football game, and LSU holds true. They're in.
And if App State can hold, which it looks like they will, they're going to be the champs in the Sun Belt again. This is our blimp-worthy play of the game brought to us by Goodyear, and it was the second touch For the offensive player of the year in the Sun Belt, Darrington Evans, a reception, a touchdown. He's been impressive. A couple of receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown for Evans today.
Yeah, the Sun Belt player of the year, living up to that definition. Really the defining factor for this football team early on to get out to such a big lead, 21-0.
Chandler Staten is going to set up for a 35-yard attempt. Trying to put another nail in the lid of the Louisiana coffin. And he got it. 45-24. Eli Drinkwitz 8-12 away from a Sun Belt championship. Jim Kelly still fighting hard. There's 17 million cancer survivors in the U.S. and that's thanks in part to the V Foundation. Clay Matvick, Ryan Leaf, Quint Kesnick here in Boone, North Carolina. Back to a 21-point lead for Appalachian State. Getting away, Chris Smith. Going to the wide side of the field. He's hung up and dropped at the 24. Week 14, Monday Night Football. A virtual must-win for the Eagles. They trail the Cowboys by a game in the NFC East. They're going to host Saquon and Eli Manning. Manning most likely going to get the start for the Giants. Daniel Jones is nursing an ankle injury. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. Doug Peterson, of course, the Eagles head coach. Some Sun Belt ties there. He played at ULM back in the 80s. Wasn't the Sun Belt back then. And his son is a terrific tight end at ULM. First team all Sun Belt.
619 yards passing in a single game. Wow.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that division is a mess. You got the Cowboys at 6-7 in first place. Levi Lewis is complete.
And it might be the only reason why Garrett still has his job is because they still are in the lead in their division. Because you got to think Jerry Jones, if it doesn't play out and the pressure that continues to mount, there's a coaching change that's going to happen at some point there in Dallas.
Bradley is open at the 44 and goes out of bounds to stop the clock, and that may affect the college football coaching carousel.
And you got a couple guys right down there in the Big 12, right around Dallas, right in Oklahoma and Norman. You have Lincoln Riley, probably on his way to a third consecutive college football playoff berth, as well as Matt Rule, who turned down the Giants just 2 years ago and now could probably call his shot if asked.
Lewis will walk it out after some pressure at the 46-yard line. 7:09 to go. Louisiana has won 10 games this year, first 10-win season in history. 7-1 in the Sun Belt this season, the most conference wins in team history. Their only losses to Mississippi State and these Mountaineers back in October.
What do you think about the Coach of the Year award going to Billy Napier and what the Appalachian State players thought about that heading into this football game?
Wow, that was nearly intercepted by Desmond Franklin.
Another one of those chips we talked about, right?
Yeah.
Hey, just a little dig at you.
You know, when we were talking to Eli yesterday about that, said, Billy Napier likes being the underdog. He said, why is he the underdog? He's the Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I'm the underdog. They're both fighting for that title.
Well, Eli's just come in here and done a tremendous job, and they haven't skipped a beat. In fact, I feel like they may have gotten a little bit better under his tutelage.
3rd down and 8. They need the 46, and Gossett, did he get there with the second effort? It looks like he did. He twisted forward, even though he was tackled by Sean Jolly. He got the first down.
You throw it behind the sticks, you got to go get it. And as he lands on Sean Jolly, and that allows him to kind of roll over and make sure he gets the first down.
Lewis over the middle. Great catch by Bam Jackson. He has made a couple of spectacular catches today. That's a gain of 22 to the 23-yard line of App State.
I will say this, Levi Lewis has looked really good at times in the passing game. Here it's just a timing route where he puts it where only his wide receiver can go up and get it. And there's a lot of faith and trust there, because if he sails it, it could end up in an interception.
To throw on first down. And he goes back to the outside. Jackson again. It's a gain of 6. Now, if I told you that Levi Lewis was going to have 3 touchdown passes and close to 300 yards passing, what would you think that the fortunes were going to be of Louisiana?
You know, at first I thought like that was the stat line he was going to need for them to win, but their inability to get the running game going early in the football game has cost them dearly, and of course the 3 turnovers.
That's going to sail over Bradley's head. Yeah, just so many missed opportunities, mistakes, self-inflicted wounds have been the enemy of the Raging Cajuns this afternoon.
And you got to compliment Appalachian State's defense for making those mistakes happen too. You know, this defense is about as good as you can get, and I think it really sets them apart from the other group of 5. They can do the things offensively that the other group of teams can, but what they do defensively is the reason why they won at North Carolina, why they won at South Carolina.
Move the pile. It's going to be close to a first down. See if they give it to him. Yep. First down from the 13. Louisiana, a couple of timeouts left, 5:20 on the clock. They need to get it in quick. Another shot at the end zone, and again overthrown. That time Jamal Bell, the intended target, pretty well covered by Franklin. Yeah, this Louisiana team again 0-for against App State. At some point for this to become a true rivalry, and you've been involved in rivalries over the years, Ryan, for it to become a true rivalry, at some point the Cajuns are going to have to beat them.
Exactly, and I've been saying that for a long time about my alma mater. They need to win that football game just like the Cajuns need to give themselves a chance to as well. This is the 8th consecutive game. The Apple Cup we were just talking about, I think 7 consecutive for that Washington team over my alma mater.
Ralston after the catch. Gives it 3rd down and 2. There is Calais down to the 1. First down goal to go for Louisiana. Just a great offense for Billy Napier. But at times today, just haven't looked fluid. Looking pretty good on this drive. Can they cap it off? Bradley, one hand, can't bring it in, but a penalty flag comes in. And that might be the 2nd pass interference on Shamar Jean-Charles. He was called for that in the other end zone against Bradley earlier in the game.
Holding, defense, number 8. The penalty is half distance to the goal from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Yeah, it's not a very costly penalty because of the half of the distance to the goal line, so it's going to be the difference of about 6 yards. Or 6 inches, I should say.
This is pretty ticky-tacky. He gets his head flipped around and looks back at the quarterback, and I think they're both jostling with their hands. So, I mean, it is what it is. More time, ticks off the clock. 1st and goal. Right now for them, they're going to have to score, and then they're going to have to start onside kicking the football. Something I thought they probably were needed to do earlier in the football game to try to get back that possession.
There's a Louisiana touchdown on the ground. Elijah Mitchell, his 2nd touchdown of the game, and his 15th rushing touchdown of the year. It's been a great year for Elijah Mitchell. He's had 5 100-yard rushing games this year. May get to 100 before this one's all said and done.
Only the 6th running back in history at Louisiana-Lafayette to go over 1,000 yards. It's been a great year for Elijah Mitchell.
All right, so it's a 2-score game, but there's only 4:18 on the clock. Louisiana has 2 timeouts remaining. 4:18 to go, and the Cajuns setting up for an onside kick. Kenny Almendaris will attempt it. Bounces right to the sure hands of Thomas Hennigan. But hold on, there's a penalty marker down, and now we've got a wrestling match in front of the App State sideline. A Louisiana player, an App State player shoving down there. Got pretty heated, and the officials quick to break it up. One of them was Caleb Sperlin for App State, and then Farrod Gardner for Louisiana. Jason Autry, our lead official, is down there trying to sort this one out.
Reality setting in for Louisiana. Not converting there on the onside kick. Tempers flare a bit. And
frustration.
Yep. I mean, it's got to be frustrating. You talked about it, you know, having not won this football game, having the best year in your school's history, and to be back in a position again to do something special. You know, and just not quite get it done. Too many mistakes, like we talked about, the turnovers.
Just to be clear, the penalty flag came in before the wrestling match.
So there were 2 flags that were actually thrown. The one you were talking about before the wrestling match, and then there was one on the sideline.
Really on the field as the onside kick was recovered by Appalachian State. There's a live ball offside, kicking team number 8. That penalty is added 5 yards at the end of the play. First down, Appalachian State.
And they're just going to let the pushing and shoving go. Well, here's the fracas. And again, it was right in front of the Mountaineers bench. Kind of glad they didn't have any more penalties. Let's go down to Q.
Yeah, I thought the officiating crew did a nice job jumping in there between the 2 teams. And actually the App State assistant coaching staff, their GAs and the like, jumping in and keeping the players on the bench. You know, you'd hate to do something late in this game that would impact your status for your bowl game.
Yeah. I'm glad there were no further penalties as Evans plunges ahead for a pickup of 6. Let's go back to the studio and an update with Matt. Oh my. And again, that's a de facto quarterfinal for the college football playoff.
Yeah, it's a play-in game, you know. Of course it
potentially
matters what Georgia and LSU do tonight, but you know, if LSU holds chalk and wins that football game, they're favored to. The winner of the Big 12 is in at number 4, and wouldn't that be something if Baylor made it? Wow,
what a story. Think about it. At the end of November, they were number 14 in the college football playoff rankings. Number 14, and they have a chance, potentially, to get into the top 4.
And the jump they made a couple weeks ago that the committee gave them after beating Texas up 5 spots and now being in a position right now at 7. Realistically, at 6 because of the Utah loss. They're right there. They win this football game, and LSU trots out with Joe Burrow, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. You know, it would be something special to see the Baylor Bears and Matt Rule walk into that national semifinal.
Zach Thomas will keep it. And the whistle blows. The players don't stop. And that's why the App State fans are a little disgruntled, especially when Zach Thomas was nearly knocked out of this game earlier in the half. You know, they want to protect that guy for the bowl game.
Not only him, but Colin Reed, who wasn't really supposed to play today. He's out there getting tossed to the ground there. And He's been injured as well.
Timeout,
So
Louisiana. It's their second charge timeout of the half.
Louisiana calls a timeout with 2:34 to go. They've got only one remaining.
42 seconds.
What a year for App State. 11 wins, a 12th win would set a conference record for wins in a season, and 2 Power 5 wins on the road. September 21st, they beat North Carolina 34-31 in Chapel Hill. And then November 9th, over South Carolina in Columbia, 20-15. Zach Thomas was great with his feet. Nicholas Ross, 20-yard interception return for a touchdown. 20-15 the final in that one. 2 monumental wins, not just for that man, but for this program.
and interesting, they got into the top 25, and then they lose on that Thanksgiving night to Georgia Southern, and then, or Halloween night, sorry, and then they turn around and beat South Carolina on the road, get back into the top 25, and have remained there since.
There's Thomas. Henry Pearson, the tight end. And that was a pretty good looking throw. And now he's celebrating with that right arm. So it seems like everything is copacetic for Zach Thomas in that throwing shoulder. And now another penalty flag as this is getting chippy.
Yeah, you had to have one of these officials finally throw a flag here, so there was some consequence.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 18. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, 4th down.
Again, the Appalachian State crowd thought it was a penalty against Louisiana for something unnecessary, but it's a block in the back.
Yeah, rush to judgment on my part there again. You know, some shenanigans after the play, but instead it was during with a block in the back, and now it sets up 4th down.
2:36 to go. Louisiana just the 1 timeout left. It's a 2-score game, but time really working against the Raging Cajuns.
Yeah, but if they get a stop here, you know, they get the football back and another onside kick opportunity. So, I mean, got to give Billy Napier and this defense a ton of credit in the second half, really.
Now timeout. App State just ahead of this 4th down play.
Timeout. Appalachian State. It's a 30-second timeout. It's their second timeout of the half.
Sports Center tonight after UFC Fight Night with Scott Van Pelt. Herbie and Reese will join the show with their college football playoff top 4 predictions. Plus, coaches around the country make their team's case for the playoff, and the best moments and highlights from Fight Like HE double hockey sticks night in the UFC, honoring the late Stuart Scott. Sports Center with SVP. And coming up immediately after our game, stay tuned to the ESPN app for the post-game trophy ceremony. Second year the Sun Belt has held a championship game. I'm glad they brought this to the conference. It's an exciting event at the end of the year.
It is. There should be a conference championship. It's got to be meaningful and mean something, and this has become a great rivalry within the Sun Belt.
On 4th down, Thomas will throw, lobbing to Malik Williams. Can't make the catch. That was knocked away by Tariq Miller. Well defended, and so Louisiana will take over on downs with 2:28 to go and 1 timeout remaining, down 14.
Yeah, I got to give Ron Roberts and that defensive coaching staff a lot of credit to hold this App State to the points they have in the second half, get turnovers, get stops. The difference has been is that Billy Napier and the offense haven't held up their part. They've turned it over 2 more times and haven't executed, especially when they were in the red zone and had to attempt a 52-yard field goal when they were set at the 12-yard line.
Eli Drinkwitz replaced Scott Satterfield here at Appalachian State. He left for Louisville. They can hold on and get a win. It will be their 12th, a record-setting victory for this program, for this conference. They've got Lewis off balance, and it's nearly intercepted by Jordan Fair. Man, the middle linebacker has had not only a great game today, but a terrific senior season.
Yeah, the senior out of Charlotte has just continue to improve every single week, and he's playing at his peak right now. Just missing an interception right there. 2019 all Sun Belt second team. Probably just loaded first and second team all Sun Belt by this defense.
Lewis throws to the outside. It's caught by Ralston, and he'll stop the clock by getting out of bounds. Jordan Fair talked about how strong he is. Can bench press a Volkswagen practically. Very fast for his size. One of the guys who have made this the toughest place to play in the Sun Belt. And now we've got flags pre-snap. Had more penalties in the second half. Hardly any in the first.
Defense, number 48 with contact. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
The Sun Belt has a belt for the most valuable player. That is appropriate. Last year, of course, it went to Darrington Evans. It's a good bet that he's going to wear that belt again this year.
Yeah, he'll have a couple of them when it's all said and done. Very deserving.
Nobody else gives away a belt. That thing's heavy. Leather and steel.
That thing is awesome. Lewis has thrown for 300 today. Jackson trying to make another spectacular catch. He climbs the ladder, but about a rung too short. Josh Thomas, number 7, in coverage. He has an interception return for a touchdown today. 1:41 to go.
This defense for Louisiana has held this potent offense of Appalachian State to only 3 points in the second half. You'd think if you were able to do that, that would have been enough. They got the touchdown, of course, defensively by Josh Thomas, but the offense has turned it over a couple times and just come up short.
Stat line for Lewis pretty good, but might not mean much. To the outside, that is a catch for Jalen Williams. Gain of 16. They'll stop the clock to move the chains. 1:34 to go as they spot it at the 38-yard line. Clock moving again. Lewis pressured by Taylor, and he had to throw it away. Demetrius Taylor. Another quarterback pressure. How many of those has he had this year?
He's been all over the place. In particular in that North Carolina game that we showcased a little earlier, but Eli Drinkwitz and Ted Roof have to be very pleased with the way the defense has played, not only today, but throughout the season.
Second down. Lewis to LeBlanc. He's got it, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Louisiana. A 38-yard score. Peter LeBlanc, his second touchdown of the game.
We hadn't heard from him since the touchdown in the first, or late in the first half. Here again, it's almost the identical play here. Almost 4 verticals with a little post curl by LeBlanc, and he just goes and gets it. And then Franklin and Thomas just really don't make a terrible effort to get him to the ground. And now we're going to see another onside kick, making it a 1-possession game.
And another penalty flag for the PAT, and this going to be offside.
False start.
False start.
Kicking team, number 93. 5-yard penalty to keep the try.
So this will be a little more challenging now for Arteagan. It's an important extra point.
It is important. I mean, it's not going to make it more than a 1-possession game, but it will make them have to score a touchdown plus a 2-point conversion.
Louisiana, 3 touchdowns here in the second half, 2-1 touchdown in the second half for App State. They've played with a sense of urgency, and they have brought this to a one-score contest. After the penalty, Artique's PAT. Right on the money. So a 7-point game with 1:19 to go. We'll be seeing an onside kick in Louisiana. If they recover, they have a timeout in their pocket, too.
They do. This is going to be for the football game. If they don't get it, the game will be over. So big opportunity for the Raging Cajuns to try to do something special. And, you know, I'm telling you that the math that was earlier on, this is a chance for Appalachian State. With what we said before the game started and what they had to do, I don't know if letting Louisiana creep back into this game is going to look as good to the committee.
No,
and
it's going to hurt their chances.
It's going to really hurt their chances. A lot of chaos would have to happen. I don't know if they put in a Cincinnati with 2 losses ahead of them. Maybe with that last data point, Appalachian State 1 loss, 2 Power 5 wins, a conference championship. Maybe that might be the only way they actually leapfrog those other 3 teams and play in the Cotton Bowl.
And of course, if Memphis wins in the American, it's a moot point because they're going to be the representative from the group of 5.
We're going to take a look at overtime here, possibly. Oklahoma and Baylor just go into overtime on the other one. Wow.
Let's go down to Quint.
Kenneth Almendaris now gets a second shot at the onside kick. The earlier one, he didn't hit it straight over the top, and the ball kind of squirted out on him and skidded across this artificial surface. The frequency of onside kicks recovered way down in the last decade because of rules and this artificial surface. Let's see if he can hit this one to get it to double hop.
He needs to keep it away from number 5, Thomas Hennigan. He and Evans are out on this hands team for Appalachian State. Those are the 2 guys he wants to avoid. It goes over Hennigan and out of bounds. And it's going to belong to Appalachian State. Because that's a kick out of bounds by Almendaris. And the Mountaineers will have it and be able to burn out the last minute
by
19.
The kicking team. Offside, number 7. That penalty is declined. Free click out of bounds, number 45. The 5-yard penalty is added to the spot where it went out of bounds. First down, Appalachian State.
And they got to work on staying on side on those kicks, Ryan. That's twice now.
We saw it a week ago where there was a penalty called where he wasn't necessarily offsides on an onside kick. That one, it looked like the illegal touching part. I thought it bounced off a shoulder. The ball misdirected there at the end, but it's going to be a moot point. Louisiana, good try at a comeback here in the second half, but App State just too good on both sides of the football today.
Thomas is going to run out of the pocket, kill some time. He'll slide down. And Louisiana does have a timeout. They call it now with 1 minute and 8 seconds
timeout
left to play.
Louisiana. It's their 3rd final timeout.
Kneel downs, and that'll be it. Another conference championship will come to Boone, North Carolina. And the future of that man will be interesting to see what happens with Billy Napier. A lot of people think that he may take another job at one of the Power 5 schools. We'll see. Eli Drinkowitz, his name is being mentioned for other jobs. Of course, they could both stay, too, and the Sun Belt would be grateful if they did.
Is there a job you think that that Billy Napier would, where he would go and have immediate success, or a place that looks like, I don't know if I see that anymore with Florida State being out of the running now and Ole Miss possibly.
Missouri's open. Yeah, that's a possibility, but again, that's speculation. Thomas again sprints out to the near side this time, and he'll slide down at the 35. Louisiana can't stop the clock. Sun Belt champs for the 4th straight year. The Mountaineers of Appalachian State, and we'll have to see where they go in the rankings tomorrow. It's likely going to be the New Orleans Bowl for App State.
There's an injury on the field. The game clock is under 1 minute remaining. Therefore, it is eligible for 10 seconds. Reset the game clock, 40 seconds. Start the game on my signal.
Injury in the last minute without a timeout. They run 10 seconds off the clock.
Yep.
Then we'll wind the clock as we go here, and that should be the ball game.
Well, 4 years in a row, conference champions, the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. Their 12th win this season. That is a conference record. Eli Drinkwitz, what an amazing first year as head coach. Just 36 years old, but I'll tell you what, he's got some savvy, he's got some wisdom that belies that age.
It's a fun place to be, Clay. I was telling everybody up here in the booth to look at this school where it's at. It would have been a heck of a place to play college football, and I think the kids he's going to recruit are going to feel the same way in years to come.
Let's go down to Quinn.
Coach, congratulations. What was most responsible for the early lead that you were able to build?
Well, first off, I just want to thank the Lord for blessing our football team. And we wanted to start fast. We felt like if we played from a lead, we'd had a chance. And our guys came out. They were determined to win. Will over skill today.
What does the nation not know about your team that they need to know?
Will over skill. These guys have the right kind of chip on their shoulders. They love football, and they love playing for each other.
Why are you deserving of the Cotton Bowl?
We beat 2 Power 5 teams on the road. Our margin of victory over the last several games is a lot. And the 2 Power 5 victories, one of them's a bowl win. Nobody else can say that.
What's that Gatorade bath feel like?
Pretty special.
Congratulations, Eli.
Thank you.
Clay.
Great job today, Q. Congratulations to Eli Drinkwitz and the Mountaineers of Appalachian State, the 2019 Sun Belt Conference champions. For the 4th straight year, they hoist the trophy. Let's go to Cincinnati, Memphis in the American. So long from Boone.